Flickr treat. Give me a brand new live stream to watch. Hey there, guys. How are you? This is it. Don't get scared now. And before we dive in, because I always have an audio issue every time I do a live stream, and I don't want to blow out your eardrums, I want to make sure this sounds good. So I'm just gonna wait just 1 second to make sure it sounds good as the live stream catches up. Come on. But yeah, today, wait. Ooh, it does sound good. Okay, we can continue with the live stream. How are you guys doing? Tomorrow's Halloween. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. This is gonna get a little bit scary, a little bit magical, a little bit mystical, but most certainly terrifying to say the least. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the gifts that I have, a few creepy gifts. So the main topic I'm going to dive into at the beginning of this live stream, and then after that main topic, I'm going to talk about anything and everything that you guys want me to. I will answer all of your questions, no matter how weird they get, and you know I enjoy the weird ones. But I had a few questions here before I even went live with the live stream. The first one was from the Z Review. Hey, John, did you watch the Back to the Future 4K? It's my favorite movie ever. But do you think they made the sequels as cash grabs? Thoughts? I do have the Back to the Future. Actually, I have this right here. Hang on. I got this big thing right here, okay? I'm saving that for a special unboxing video. So I have not technically watched Back to the Future on 4K yet, but I know it's in that box. As far as the sequels go, absolutely not. Those were the opposite of cash grab. You know why? Because they took their time. They made the two sequels at the same time, back to back. They had an idea. They wrote the scripts side by side, so they knew exactly what they were going to do with the third movie, so they could intertwine both of them. No, Back to the Future is one of the best trilogies ever. Now, the third part's probably the weakest link because of the love story between Doc and the school teacher, Sarah. I would have been happy if she just went off that cliff during the second act of the movie. That would have been fine by me. Then they had those creepy kids by the end of the movie that just creeped me the hell out. But yeah, I love Back to the Future. No way. Maddie Wren, hey John, you are a legend. If you could meet two of your favorite actors in a film, who would it be and what would you say? I would probably love to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then probably Nicolas Cage. Those are like two iconic actors that I would love to meet. Now, if you're saying I meet their movie counterparts, the characters that they play in movies, that's easy. I'd probably want to have a conversation with the T-800. Then, I don't know, what Nicolas Cage character would I like to meet most? That's a great question. Probably his character from Vampire's Kiss. I don't know why. All right, I'm going to save the rest of the questions until after I dive into the main topic. And the main topic it's more or less just horror films I want to talk about. And since Halloween's tomorrow, these are some of my favorite go-to scary films of all time. Now, some of these technically aren't Halloween movies. But what is a Halloween movie? I mean, is it something, with witches in it, or something that just simply terrifies you? Because the most terrifying shit to me is this right here. Silence of the Lambs. Now, let me explain myself. You can have Freddy Krueger. You can have Michael Myers. You can have Leatherface. But you know what terrifies me more than any of those iconic characters? It's the character of Buffalo Bill. Imagine being trapped in some crazy guy's basement in his well, and he's planning to cut your skin off in 3 days. I'm sorry, sorry, Freddy Krueger, that's way more terrifying to me. And with all that said, I have to do it. It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the fucking lotion in the basket! Ah! Yeah, Silence of the Lambs is so amazing. I love every second of this movie. It's completely terrifying because this is based in reality. There are people out there like Buffalo Bill. My next door neighbor could be Buffalo Bill for all I know. I don't know, but just something about that's always like every time I'm outside in like a parking lot late at night and I see somebody walking by and they ask for help, I'm just like, that's Buffalo Bill. He's going to knock me out and put me in his van. Plus Anthony Hopkins in the movie as Hannibal Lecter is just, I know he's a villain. I know he murders people. I know that he's a complete psychotic, insane sociopath, but I still really like the guy. He has a lot of etiquette. The next one up, and this is, when it's Halloween time, you got to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, the biggest question is, do you watch Nightmare on Elm Street 2? It has a lot of weird undertones, but I sort of like it. It has one of the coolest opening scenes of any of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. The school bus that goes into like that canyon and all the walls fall out under it. It's just a great opening scene. And then you had the character Jesse, he's confused to say the least. And then Dream Warriors. Now that's my go-to Nightmare on Elm Street flick. That's where they return to the glory and they got it perfectly right. I love Dream Warriors, and there's some great dream sequences in that movie that just blew me away as a kid, and they still wow me to this day. Now, the next one, and as I talk about these movies, guys, feel free to comment, and I'll read some of your comments on some of these movies. Someone said that's my best impression. Yes, Buffalo Bill. I would say that is my best impression. In another life, I might have been Buffalo Bill. Heck, if I just had a basement with a well in it, I could be Buffalo Bill. The next one is an underrated movie, Little Monsters, starring Howie Mandel, with a lot of prosthetic shit on his face. Now, before I dive into this, if you've ever seen the film Monsters, Inc., I think it's blatantly obvious that they stole a lot of ideas from Little Monsters. I'm just saying. Now, Fred Savage in this film is like a kid I was always envious of. I always wanted to be Fred Savage when I was a kid. Like, something about him just seemed so cool ever since I watched him in The Wizard. But yeah, in this film, he's a kid that has a monster that lives under his bed. He pops out. He takes him down into like the monster universe of society. And they go on these adventures and just crazy things happen. And I've always loved it. There's one scene where Maurice, the monster in this film, played by Howie Mandel, pisses in a kid's apple juice and then he drinks it. That kid was also Buzz in Home Alone. Just a great movie. The next one, and I mentioned this on the previous live stream, I believe. Speaking of everyday movies based in reality, things that actually do happen, like the seedy, nasty shit that goes on in society that no one talks about, it's 8mm. He plays a private detective investigating a snuff film. And in the film, there's a villain named Machine. And essentially, he's a guy wearing a gimp mask who murders people. Anyway, do I need to say more about 8mm? What'd I do? Get you off or something? I love 8mm. Just, it's seedy. Like, that's scary to me. Like, reality is more scary than any fiction you can throw at me. Hey, want to see something cool? Ah! Did you like it? Yeah, Beetlejuice, classic Tim Burton, a great Halloween flick to watch every time. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, just that and Batman are his two best performances he's ever given, in my opinion. Okay. This one right here. Let me explain myself. Jason Takes Manhattan. It's a terrible movie. It's easily probably one of the worst Friday the 13th films in existence. I know that. The first 2/3 of this film, it doesn't take place in Manhattan. It takes place on a boat. Okay? It takes place on a boat. This was the definition of a cash grab movie. But the third act of the movie, once they do arrive in Manhattan, and by the way, they actually never even went to Manhattan. They actually filmed this film in Canada, I believe. But when Jason kicks over the boombox, he punches a guy's head off and it rolls into a dumpster. That's like guilty pleasure shit, and I love it. So I don't recommend watching that. I just wanted to put it out there. This one, The Hills Have Eyes, which I also mentioned in the previous live stream, one of the best horror film remakes. I actually think this is better than the original. I don't care what anyone says. This is a better film than the original. The production quality, the final climax of this movie, where you have the nuclear infected guy in the chair, and he's like, I never leave here. You dropped your bombs. We went into the mines. Your people. Yeah, I love that. Just his head's all big and bulbousy. Just terrifying. The next one I also mentioned last week is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I never thought this got the credit it deserved, and especially in a time period where we live in remake, everything gets remade. This one got it right, along with the Hills Have Eyes remake. This got it right. Like, I was happy with this movie. I think it paid homage to the original and did something a little bit different, and the production value of this film was great. And plus, they're making a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, which I'm really looking forward to. I love Leatherface. No, Over the Top is not in this lineup, though it could be. The next one is probably, I could say arguably overall, Zack Snyder's best film. Like, this is probably the one that most people could watch and agree on. Like, oh, okay, that was probably his best movie. Now, I love Man of Steel and 300, but I think Dawn of the Dead was also another great remake. I love zombie flicks. I love films where it takes place in the post-apocalyptic wastelands, and the entire movie takes place in a mall. That's great. Now, if I had to run for safety in the zombie apocalypse, I'd probably run to Best Buy or Walmart. And with all that said, I would love to make a zombie movie that takes place in Walmart. The next one is another guilty pleasure movie called Van Helsing. Now, if you've never seen this film, it's okay. I don't even recommend watching it. But then again, I kind of do. This, to me, was a craptastic, big-budget B movie. And I've always enjoyed it. Like, it has some of the shittiest CG of all time. They have a great, horrific battle scene between Hugh Jackman, who turns into a werewolf, and he fights Dracula, who looks like a Killer Instinct character. It's a good time. Kate Beckinsale's in the movie. It's just fun to look at. And last, but certainly never least, my favorite horror film, or at least my favorite slasher flick of all time, is the original 78 Halloween, directed by John Carpenter. This is just so simple. There's no fat on the bone with this movie. It gives you everything you need. You get in, you get out. And it's nearly perfect in my opinion, and it's also groundbreaking. Like, there's multiple scenes throughout this film that were the first of their kind, like the opening shot where you have the POV shot of young Michael Myers putting on a clown mask, murdering his sister. Like, that shot alone, that Steadicam shot, was one of the first of its kind. Still blows me away when I watch it. And I had this on 4K. Now, I don't think I've ever watched this on 4K because it's still in the plastic. So I'm kind of savoring the flavor until tomorrow night, and I will watch this with a clown mask on. Maybe. I'm not sure. So anyway, guys, those are my must-watch Halloween flicks that I really enjoy, that I've been trying to watch throughout the month of October. And I didn't mention Hocus Pocus, though I did watch it, because I've talked about it 100 times. And now I'm going to break into tune. Come, little children, and I will take thee away. We will drink energy drinks and talk about movies. Okay, somebody mentioned Monster House. Never one of my favorite movies. Someone says they love me. The Fly remake. Yeah, I like the Jeff Goldblum Fly remake. I mean, there's nothing more terrifying than Jeff Goldblum turning into a giant bug and puking on shit. I love it. I don't really consider it a Halloween movie for some odd reason. Halloween 4. Yeah, Halloween 4 is good. I never hated it, but I just think artistically and as far as the production value go, actually, you know what I hate about Halloween 4? The Michael Myers mask is just so bad. It really takes me out of the movie. Halloween 2, though, is a pretty decent sequel. Fun flick fact with Halloween 2, which takes place in a hospital, they originally wanted to have that movie take place in a high-rise apartment building in New York. Yeah, it was going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's character. She lived in this apartment. Michael Myers goes to the big city, kind of like Jason Takes Manhattan, sort of, kind of. That would have been interesting. All right, but as usual, let me dive into your questions, guys. And I'm probably going to be about 10 minutes behind here because you guys are killing it with the Super Chats. Much appreciated. And I thank you guys so much just for watching, and the Super Chats. They do help pay the internet bill, so thank you very much. All right, Joshua Garrison has just become a member. Well, thanks, man. And don't get scared now, Joshua. Jacob Bo Lee, favorite Nightmare on Elm Street death scene. Mine is the hospital scene from Dream Warriors when Freddy possesses the TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. I love that scene as well. Yeah, I that's a good scene. That's probably, I would say that's my favorite death scene. Also, I really enjoy the scene in the first Nightmare on Elm Street where he sucks Glenn, played by Johnny Depp, into the waterbed or whatever, and then just blood explodes upwards. That's pretty awesome as well. Hector the Chill Guy. Hey, John. Good to see what's one of your non-horror movies that scare you. For me, it's Sicario. A non-horror film that scares me? You said Sicario. Interesting. Is it the political aspects that scare you the most? I mentioned a lot of non-horror film, like Silence of the Lambs. That truly terrified me as a kid. Now, if you want to talk about another non-horror film that terrified me as a kid, if you've ever seen the Kevin Bacon film Sleepers, that's scary shit. That's a movie, as a young youth, you think, I'm never going to get in trouble and go to a boys' school. No, thank you. No, thank you. Jack Lame. Is there an actor who you think needs to be in way more stuff? For me, it's Aaron Paul. I like Aaron Paul. I loved him in Breaking Bad, bitch. But really, when it comes, I don't know. I don't see him in a lot of other roles. Like they try to give him a shot in Need for Speed, the video game movie, and I think he was okay. I think Ben Foster is one underrated actor that could be in more stuff. Like Ben Foster's, I think, one of the truly underrated actors of the last 15 years. I would like to see him in more stuff. Like his performance in 310 to Yuma, Hell or High Water, and Alpha Dog were great. Claudio Rogajon. Todd Phillips literally admitted in an interview that he made Joker the main character in Joker because the only way it would make money. I agree. Well, I mean, if you're going to make a movie called Joker, I would hope that Joker was the main character. I mean, it seems pretty blatant. Maybe I misinterpreted your question there, but I'm glad that Joker was the main character in Joker. Like, I'm glad it wasn't his mom or something like that. Yeah, I'm that's fine by me. Now, if you would have said, yeah, I sort of copied the blueprint to Taxi Driver to make this movie. I more or less remade Taxi Driver with a clown in it. That would have been a great admission. Carter Lovejoy. I have a theory that the demons of hell were haunting your live stream last week due to the audio. Let's hope they don't come back. No, those weren't demons. That was the spirit of Tiny Todd. He haunts all of us. He's hiding somewhere in this room right now, and he may kill me by the end of the live stream. If you don't know who Tiny Todd is, go back 10 years and watch some old videos. I will not explain it, nor will I ever mention his name again. Never say his name out loud. Azim the Dream Reviews. Have you ever had a movie or a franchise you forgot how much you loved? I've been so focused on my most anticipated movies getting delayed that I went back and rewatched Harry Potter's series, which I literally grew up with as a kid. It felt magical and mystical. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the Harry Potter series. For me, I've never been a diehard fan of Harry Potter. I think those films started coming out when I became a teenager, and I just was into other things. I was like, I want to watch rated R movies. I want to watch gritty action movies. And I think that fantastical environment of Harry Potter just went by me. Now, I have seen some of the movies. I don't think I've technically seen all of them. And I get why people like them. They just never were for me. But some franchises that I went back and revisited, gosh, I'm trying to think here. I watched, one movie I went back and watched the other day that I had not seen in a couple years was A Quiet Place. And I forgot how great John Krasinski did with that film. Like, as a director, some of those shots were just phenomenal to look at. Like, when you see his character running and they have the fireworks going off in the background, like, it's such a great shot and a suspenseful film that's just, they pace that film out so well. Now, you can say what you will about the plot, and there's some blatantly obvious plot holes in the film, like, if you can't make sounds or you'll die, why do you live in the middle of a cornfield? I don't know. And speaking of A Quiet Place, real quick, I'm going to give a quick mention to my Patreon. If you guys already joined me on Patreon, or if you're a YouTube member that have subscribed to my podcast perk, much appreciated, guys. But either way, if you haven't already, or if you have, and you guys have, you're on Patreon and you guys follow me there and you listen to the podcast, which I do exclusively for Patreon and YouTube members, I'm giving away 2 movies this week. So all you have to do is listen to the podcast and I'll tell you how to win these. But you just have to be a supporter on Patreon. It's just like a thank you to you. So I'm giving away The Goonies on 4K and A Quiet Place on 4K. And they also have the Blu-rays in there if you don't have a 4K player. So yeah, go listen to the brand new episode of the podcast over on Patreon. Okay, let's get back to your questions. Mason Arnold, I have exciting news for you. I got to see The Exorcist for the very first time last weekend in theaters. Have there been any classic movies you got to see later in life in theaters? I went to see, I saw Jurassic Park in theaters. That was pretty cool. Because I have a fun backstory about Jurassic Park. Now, we're talking about the original Jurassic Park. That's the only one I really enjoy. When I was a kid, I remember my family going to see Jurassic Park. And during the Velociraptor scene that takes place in the kitchen, I remember crying or being whiny like a little bitch. And my parents, or at least my dad, took me out in the lobby. And I remember not watching the rest of the movie. And I don't know if I made my entire family leave the theater because I was being a whiny little bitch. But yeah, I remember that. And I was always... I think that's my biggest regret from childhood. Like, how dare me? What was I thinking? What was wrong with me? Weird. Why did I do that? I don't know. But then years later, when they released Jurassic Park in 3D, I did go back to the theater, and I did get to see Jurassic Park in the theater, and that was a really, really cool experience. Rob K. Silence of the Lambs is real life horror. I was paranoid of everyone for like 2 weeks after I first saw it. The scariest thing can be your neighbors. Absolutely. There's time. Do you ever like sometimes in society you come across someone and there's something a little bit off about them and you can't quite place what it is, but you just know back at their house, there's someone in their basement tied up and there's nothing you can do about it. Like there's been so many times I've been at Walmart and there's just like a creepy old guy in there. And I'm just like, I want to go up to him and be like, sir, how many children have you murdered? Yeah, I agree with that. Luke O'Neill. Oh, hey, John. Favorite George Romero movie? Probably the original, maybe the original Dawn of the Dead movie, maybe. The only thing I don't like about it is some of his zombies are like painted blue. Like, why did the zombies look like Smurfs? Maybe they were holding their breath too long. I'm not quite sure. And then they had that one later George Romero movie. It was another zombie movie. What was that? It had like... I forget his name. John Leguizamo in it, where the rich upper class of society live in this skyscraper in this protected city. It was like something Dawn of the Dead, or I don't remember the name of it. Not that great of a movie, but I sort of, it was like a guilty pleasure. Mr. Drown 73, happy Halloween, John. Hope you're having a good day. Stay safe. Well, thanks, Mr. Drown, and I am having a good day, and I hope you guys are having a good day as well. Actually, I said Halloween was tomorrow, and I think I lied. Isn't Halloween Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday. Okay, I thought it was Friday for like 25 minutes. I'm sorry. It's close enough. Halloween's coming very soon. So happy Halloween to all of you. Yemen. Hey, John, been watching you since 2011 in London when I was 11, now nearly 20. Just wanted to say thank you for getting me through tough times in my life. You and Stuckman make me escape with film. So cheers, mate. Well, thanks, man. That's like 9 years we've been together. 9 magical, miserable, great years. Thank you for sticking with me, and happy Halloween, buddy. Azim the Dream Reviews. I heard Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman and possibly maybe Christian Bale as Batman. What was that about? Is that a Batman Beyond movie? Also heard Tobey Maguire was coming back in Spider-Man, MCU, in Live Spider-Verse. Are all of these true? Well, I can't confirm nor deny those things. I'm not really a Hollywood insider who has the deep dive scoop, but what I can do is speculate, and that's what I can do best. I'm pretty sure it's almost certain that Michael Keaton, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Is coming back as Batman in the Flash movie, where he plays an older version of Batman because of the Flashpoint paradox multiverse thing, and that's cool. That's great. Now, there's been some discussion that they might be doing a Batman Beyond HBO series. Now, that would be that's fucking awesome. Like, please. And ever since AT&T got involved with HBO, they've been giving the fans what they want. Like, it's fan service now. And that's great because that's what makes money. Like, comic book fans are diehard fans that will just give you as much money as they possibly can if you give them what they want to see. And if they made like a Batman Beyond series, which is logical because you're going on with the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson and going that route, and you can't really make more Batman movies because it dilutes that Robert Pattinson universe of Batman. But what you can make is a Batman Beyond series. And that's something we've all wanted to see for so long. Like, you can do so much with that. And if the older Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond series was played by Michael Keaton, yes, please. That's something I never thought we would see, and I hope we do. As of right now, I believe that's a rumor. So, and as far as the Spider-Verse things, yeah, I've heard that Toby signed on and Andrew Garfield signed on to be in the third act of the new Spider-Man Tom Holland movie. So that would also be awesome. Luke O'Neill, do you agree Parasite is a Halloween movie? Love you. I don't believe Parasite is really a Halloween movie. It's kind of eerie and creepy, but I wouldn't say it's a Halloween movie, no. But it's a damn good movie, I would say that. Jake Walsh, have you seen 12 Angry Men? If so, what did you think about it? And if you haven't, stop everything you're doing and watch it. Truly a masterpiece. I'll stop and watch it right now. For the next 2.5 hours, we will watch 12 Angry Men together. How's that, guys? Yes, I have seen it. Really enjoy it. It's a film about like a group of jury members who can't really agree. I've seen it once many, many years ago. I believe I watched it in college. I remember liking it, but I almost watched it at a time before I truly appreciated film more than I do now. So I would love to go back and revisit it. Is it on Blu-ray? Maybe I'll pick it up. It's been years since I watched it. I know it's one of the best films ever made. Nev African Dad Mom, you should watch the Entity 1982. It's pretty scary. Entity 1982 is like a cheesy B horror film. It's not, okay. I'll look into it. Thanks for the recommendation. Benny, do you like the little vampire Stuart Little? Do I like the little vampire and Stuart? Oh, do I like the little vampire and Stuart Little? I don't recall the little vampire and Stuart Little with the little mouse voiced by Michael J. Fox. I saw that once. It was okay. I never got into it. I don't know why. I just wasn't really into it. Dan Peters, 3 very random questions. Favorite Spike Lee movie? Spike Lee. There's always one I forget. Let me look here. There's always one I forget. I want to make sure I don't. No. That's not it. Did he? Okay, I was making sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Inside Man. I love heist movies. I thought Denzel was great in that movie, and probably I would definitely say Inside Man. Like, I remember watching it. I love the twist of it. I love Clive Owen in the film. Also, Spike Lee directed the Old Boy remake. I forgot he directed that. That was a terrible movie. That was a really terrible remake. But I'd go with Inside Man. The next question was, thoughts on Dances with Wolves? You mean the original Avatar? I watched Dances with Wolves one time. Now listen, I grew up watching Kevin Costner movies, and I've always really enjoyed Kevin Costner. I think my favorite Kevin Costner movie is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, with Morgan Freeman as the glorious sidekick in that film. But with all that said, I never really enjoyed Dances with Wolves. It goes on way too long. I don't really care about anyone in the film. It's a great, like, epic, big scope movie, but not one of my favorites. And do I believe in ghosts? I don't know. There's some kind of weird kinetic energy out there that's evil. I will say that. Do I believe in ghosts? I don't know. I believe in aliens, though. Michael Leahy. Hey, John, great lineup. I would add The Skin I Live In, scariest film I've ever seen. It could happen in real life. Yeah, it probably could. And speaking of skin, it puts the lotion in the basket, or else it gets the hose again. It does this whenever it's told. I'm sorry, Buffalo Bill. When it comes to the gifts I use tonight for this live stream, because it's the Halloween edition of the live stream. By the way, if you didn't already know, I'm Driver from the movie Drive. This is my Scorpion Drive jacket. I don't do anything. I give you a time and a place. I don't go in. All I do is drive. And by drive, I mean talk about movies. What were we talking about? Oh, yes, the GIFs. I almost used the one GIF of Buffalo Bill dancing when he tucks his wink in between his legs, but I was like, that's too much. By the way, check out the t-shirt. Best video game ever made. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Jordan, have you seen Caroline? It's one of my favorite animated movies and still creeps me out to this day. I've seen Caroline once. Not one of my favorite like stop-go animated films. Like, clearly I love... I don't know if I love. I really like Nightmare Before Christmas. But when it comes to like stop-go animation films, I liked James and the Giant Peach for a long time. Alejandro Ortiz, I noticed you left me an open Snapchat betrayal. Listen, I hate Snapchat. Like, I just started using it again, but I truly hate it. Like, you know what I hate more than anything on Snapchat? Like, if you send me this shit on Snapchat, I want to block you, but I'm too lazy to physically do it. Streaks. When it comes to people that make streaks on Snapchat, don't do that. Like, it's such a waste of digital space. But I'm sorry to leave you hanging, man. Holmes Kid 101, 2 days till Halloween. Indeed, it is. But every day is Halloween right here in the Flick Cave. I wish I had a well here in the Flick Cave to put all of you down inside of it. ADSD vids and stop motion. What are some Oscar snubs that nobody talks about? Nightcrawler? That'd probably be the biggest fucking Oscar snub in my opinion. Like, nominated for nothing. What? Also, another Oscar snub, Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. Was he even nominated? I don't remember him being nominated for Best Supporting Actor. But, like, what does it take? The Oscars are bullshit. I don't like the Oscars. I don't believe in the Oscars. It's a group of selected individuals who don't even watch all the films that were nominated and just sort of pick what they sort of like and don't like, and it's there's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't know why we hold it on this pedestal. It's nothing. It's Hollywood elitists handing each other golden statues, smiling and stabbing each other in the back. It's a complete bullshit show. Jacob Bo Lee. Name a movie franchise that could have Halloween-inspired edition. I was thinking Deadpool. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, the theme around the movie could be Halloween. Deadpool's good, yeah. It sort of reminds me of, like, every Shane Black movie revolved around Christmas. Speaking of, like, Halloween-themed movies, I believe the upcoming The Batman film will be timed around Halloween, based on the long Halloween storyline, which is really cool. What's another great film that could be placed around Halloween? Like, you're saying it has to be like a sequel-esque movie? Ooh. I don't know. Deadpool was a good one. Can we go with that? I'm trying to think of anything else. The fact that a Batman movie is revolving around Halloween possibly is enough to get me excited. Wild Hog 84. Which two horror movies would you have a crossover like Freddy vs. Jason? Well, for me, Freddy vs. Jason was something that I waited ever since I was a stupid little kid to see. Ever since I watched Jason Goes to Hell, which is an abomination against humanity, and I hate every second of it because Jason's technically not really even in the movie. His soul possesses other normal characters that kill people. It was the dumbest piece of shit movie ever made. But at the end of that movie, where Freddy's hand comes up and grabs Jason's mask and pulls it into the dirt, that was in the early 90s, and we had to wait until like 2003 to see Freddy vs. Jason. And I won't lie to you, I was let down with Freddy vs. Jason. I think they got the wrong director for the movie, to say the least. But I thought they could have introduced like Leatherface into the mix, maybe Ash let's see, Chucky would be cool. Like, if they ever made another crossover movie, you could throw like 3 or 4 more characters into it, and they don't all have to share the exact same amount of screen time, but like have them cameo in the movie. I think that would be the ultimate dream come true. I was just hoping for a really good Freddy versus Jason movie. And I'm still waiting for that. Oh, Michael Myers would also be good in there too. And then you could end all of it with like Hellraiser. Like, they all just end up in hell with Hellraiser. Raymond Clark, thoughts on Kill Bill? I like Kill Bill. I think I've always enjoyed the first part more than the second part. And Kill Bill was originally supposed to be one movie, and then they said, whoa, it's way too long. Let's separate it into 2 films. It was never one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films, but I enjoy it, but it's definitely not one of my favorite films of his. And by the way, guys, I'm doing my best to catch up on the chats. I'm 15 minutes behind on your questions, but you guys know how it goes. I like to give you good answers with some substance because you deserve it. All right. Claudio Rogajon. I meant Todd Phillips was trying to get a movie made, and he made the movie about Joker because he knew it would sell if it involved comic book characters. Well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, if you're going to mix any film with a comic book character and you want it to have some real substance and some depth, with like a psychotic character, Joker is that. It's like a deep dive into madness. And that's like, I love psychotic, sociopathic characters. I always have. That's why I like Nightcrawler, American Psycho, and films like the Joker. So, okay, I got what you're saying now. And that makes sense. Just JDD24. Hey, John, have you ever watched Misery? I just watched a few days ago and really enjoy it. Yeah, Misery is a terrifying film starring Kathy Bates, and she's obsessed with her favorite writer who coincidentally she finds in an accident and then saves him and then puts him in a bed where she's like sort of passive aggressive to say the least, and she beats his legs with a hammer. Yeah, Misery's pretty good. I haven't seen the film in many years, but I always did enjoy it. Luke O'Neill. Quentin Tarantino should make a horror film. I agree with you. Yes, absolutely. And it's surprising that he hasn't. I mean, he sort of made the Grindhouse flick with Stuntman Mike, Death Proof. That was sort of like a cheesy Grindhouse horror film, but I get what you're saying. Like, he could dive a little bit deeper into it. I would love it if Quentin Tarantino made a sci-fi film. Now that is something I want to see. By the way, speaking of that, I just watched Django Unchained for like the 87th time the other day. Never gets old. Monsieur Candy, you have a deal. $10,000 for Eskimo Joe. I love it. Shut Up Cat Productions. I am Sofa King. We tar Ed. What you think of Ed Wood? I've seen Ed Wood. I don't remember anything about it. So I have no in-depth intellectual thoughts on Ed Wood. I know I've seen it, but I don't recall anything about it, man. I'm sorry. The Z Review. Hopefully a new question for you. If Michael J. Fox didn't have Parkinson's, what movie would you like to see him star in and why? Okay, all right. Let's think about that. I don't know. I can't think of any project that he should have been in and it didn't happen because he had Parkinson's. I can't think of one. I mean, if they made a Back to the Future sequel, they could have him in the film. They really could. Yeah, I don't really have one on the top of my head, like a movie that should have had Michael J. Fox in it, but didn't. Like, my favorite film of his from the 90s was probably Frighteners. But yeah, I don't really have one on the top of my head that he should have been in. Steve Goldie. Big fan from London here. Thoughts on True Romance. Good movie, written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by Tony Scott. I love Christian Slater in the movie. I always saw a little bit of myself in Christian Slater. Does that sound weird? Put a turbo dog in the microwave. Really good movie. Seen it a few times. A lot of people love it. I've never loved the movie, but I did enjoy it. Mason Arnold. Have you watched any DC Universe shows? Big fan of Doom Patrol. It's on HBO Max now. Never really got into a lot of the DC Universe shows. I just never did. Like, I know you have Arrow, and you have like the Flash show, and like there was Supergirl, and I saw bits and pieces of all of those. I just could not get into them. They all felt like CW shows to me. Like, I saw a few episodes of Gotham, and I instantly felt confident in myself for never watching it. I was like, I'm glad I never wasted my time watching this. I couldn't get into it. Now, if they did make like a Batman Beyond show with like a nice juicy high production values and a big budget, and it had Michael Keaton in it, now that is something I would love to see. Like, if they went that route, like not CW route, but like HBO route, because HBO makes great series, that is something I would love to see. Zine the Dream Reviews. Don't you think it's amazing whenever there's a huge gap between movies and a franchise? It makes the return of legacy OG characters very exciting. It's been so long. For example, Alan Grant in Jurassic World, Dominion, and Michael Keaton in Batman. Absolutely. Well, we live in a time and age where the only way you can really sell something is to capitalize on a past fandom of it. And that's what they're doing, right? So, like with the Jurassic World franchise, they're like, well, these movies aren't that great. Why don't we go back into nostalgia to the originals that were good and capitalize once again with those characters and bring them back? And I'm fine with that. I think for the majority, like, there's something about actors from the past compared to today. Like, you have all these new age actors, and some of them are great, but it just feels like they lack the charisma of like character. Like, you can't duplicate another Nicolas Cage. You can't have another Ian Malcolm played by Jeff Goldblum. It's just like, I don't know why I mentioned Nicolas Cage, but I did. But yeah, as far as bringing those original characters back to the new Jurassic Park film, that's what gets me most excited about it. Nothing else gets me excited about that movie except bringing like Jeff Goldblum back. That to me, like, I would love to see Jeff Goldblum ride a dinosaur in Jurassic World. I would. Don't ask. I would love to see it. Or he gets eaten by a dinosaur. I'll take whatever I can get. Just show me that hairy chest once again of Jeff Goldblum. Be Right 92. I agree that Ben Foster is an underrated actor. One of his first roles was in the Judd Apatow series Freaks and Geeks. He played a mentally challenged character, and it was 100% believable. That was great. That was a great series with an amazing Halloween episode also. I loved Freaks and Geeks, and that's one of those series that was ahead of its time, and it's a shame that it got canceled after like the first season. Like, I just wish society would have appreciated it more than they did. And I think if Freaks and Geeks were a series made today where we love nostalgia more than ever, like with things like Stranger Things, it would be much more successful. And I do specifically remember the Freaks and Geeks episode that takes place during Halloween. They go to see the new Nightmare on Elm Street film. I remember that vividly. And they also are throwing things out of the car, and she throws things at her little brother. Freaks and Geeks was great. I need to go back and rewatch that again. Cool 12. John, please watch The Night Comes For Us. It's an Indonesian film and one of the best action movies I've seen since The Raid 2. It's called The Night Comes For Us. Duly noted, man. I'll look into it. I've over the last couple of years, I've come to love foreign films because they're so different. They're not afraid of offending people. They just go for it. Like, South Korean films have become some of my favorite films of all time. Like, I just got around to watching Train to Busan a few weeks ago. Really enjoyed it. Movies like Parasite, Old Boy, like, just other countries are not afraid to make the movies they want to make. And that's what I appreciate. So yeah, I'll look into that. Jack Lame, did you like El Camino? I wasn't disappointed by it, but did it really advance anything that I didn't assume already happened in the Breaking Bad series? Not really, but it was nice to see our some of our favorite characters again. But it more or less, like, if it never existed, you would just sort of assume that happened with Jesse. I liked it. It just felt like a glorified, decent episode of Breaking Bad. Like, there are better episodes of Breaking Bad than El Camino the movie. There really is. But with all that said, and I say this all the time, if you have not watched Better Call Saul, the spinoff series of Breaking Bad, I highly recommend going to watch it. Now, that's one series that got better with each season. Season 5 of Better Call Saul, and there is 5 seasons of Better Call Saul, and no one talks about it. Season 5 was phenomenal. Like, the final episode of Season 5 with Better Call Saul, it was some of the best shit I've ever seen. Go watch that. Oh, hi, Mark. How is it you get movie stuff mailed to you to review? I've been talking about movies so long, and specifically Blu-rays so long. I think studios come across my videos and they're like, we'll send him some Blu-ray movies for free publicity because it's cheap. I mean, think about it. I mean, if a studio sends me a Blu-ray, it costs the studio like $2 to send this to me, and I show it to people, and it's just cheap marketing, I guess. There's a lot of stuff that I get emailed and offered, and I'm just like, I don't want it. Just keep it. There's just a lot of bad movies. I only accept the movies I really want to see. And speaking of Blu-ray movies, now's a quick segment that I'm going to segue to, not very smoothly, but speaking of Blu-ray movies, I got a few brand new 4K movies sent to me. This one's from Warner Brothers. It's V for Vendetta. Never forget the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason, blah, blah, blah. So V for Vendetta, in my opinion, is one of the best underrated comic book based films of all time with Natalie Portman. I remember skipping school back when this movie was released to go watch it. Like, me and my friend, we woke up in the morning. I called him and I was like, do you feel like going to school today? And he's like, not really. I was like, well, there's a new movie that just came out called V for Vendetta. Let's go skip school and watch it. And he's like, okay. And we did. So yeah, we went to go see this at the theater. I was blown away by it. Truly underrated. I'm so glad I have this on 4K. I need to go back and revisit it. But this is like one movie I feel like should be on 4K. And I love movies about vigilantes who change the system and go up against everything. And especially they go up against a corrupt government who purposely infects its citizens with this virus to make them sick. That way they can get more control power over their nation. Could be a pretty good conspiracy theory with 2012 and everything going on, right? Anyway, V for Vendetta, the scene when Natalie Portman gets her head shaved, that's like that whole twist always blew me away. And the next 4K movie I got, which is a steelbook exclusively from Best Buy, this is from Lionsgate, is Kick-Ass. Huge fan of Kick-Ass, another comic book based film. And the steelbook's pretty cool. I like it. And this, I remember buying the Blu-ray of this and watching the Blu-ray like 10 times over and over the course of a week. Kick-Ass to me, I like that it didn't have a huge budget. I also really enjoyed the character of Kick-Ass. Like, if you gave me money and said, John, write a script that's sort of a satire on comic book movies, like my brain would come up with something like Kick-Ass. I just love Red Mist in this movie, and Hit Girl, phenomenal. So I'm curious to see how the picture quality looks on both those. So yeah, let's get back to the questions. Nicholas Cadwell, Exorcist 3 is A+ and has the greatest jump scare. Now, I've never fully watched Exorcist 3. Now, I have a good friend who loves Exorcist 3. He loves it more than life. Matt, if you're watching, you've inspired me to watch it, but I just haven't got around to watching it. Now, the jump scare that you speak of, and I don't want to ruin the film for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the jump scare, I have seen that one scene, and it's truly fucking terrifying. Like, it's just this long hallway, and it's just like, yeah, that's a good scene. I do agree with you. Holmes Kid 101, how often do you thrust your pelvis? Every day, every night. I'm doing it right now, but you just can't tell. I'm not even wearing pants right now, guys. Just FYI. Don't get scared. Symbiote Gang. Hey, John. Do you see the teaser for Halloween Kills that was released today? I wish it was coming out now and not next year, but oh well. I have not watched that teaser yet. I haven't watched that teaser yet. I didn't know they put out a teaser. But if that is in fact true and it's not some fan-made bullshit, how about at the end of the stream, I do a live reaction watching the teaser to Halloween Kills? Would you guys like that? Let me know. I can do that. Jim from the town. Hey, John. I also want to thank you for helping us all get through this crazy time by escaping it all with film. Changing people's lives with your content. Thanks a bunch. Have you seen the new trailer for Death on the Nile, Gal Gadot, and Armie Hammer? I did see the trailer. It looks very stylistic, sort of like the remake of Great Gatsby. It sort of reminds me of that a little bit. A little too over-stylistic, in my opinion. Like, too polished. I am interested in watching the film. What was it? Oh, and thank you for the first part. Thank you for the compliment, man. I started doing these live streams. The thing that inspired me to do these was with the pandemic happening and there was no new movies coming out. I was like, I got to do something. I need to connect with you guys. I'm lonely. I'm weird. And I think some of you are too. And I like that. If you're lonely and weird, let me know down below. But yeah, I just wanted to do like a weekly live show, and I'm glad people watch it. So thanks. Joe Wibb. Hey, John, loving the streams. What are your thoughts on the film Heat 1995? Also, can you do an Al Pacino impression from the film? Hoo-ha, motherfucker. How about I give you a pack of bubblegum and show you how to chew it? An actual line that he says from the film. I don't specifically remember another line from the film. She's got a great ass. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I love Heat. Once again, I'm a sucker for heist films, bank robbery movies. I love smart criminals, and Robert De Niro was a smart criminal in that movie. And Al Pacino, that was that was the first on-screen performance they had together that takes place in that diner. It was a great movie. I love the opening heist also, where they're wearing hockey masks and they break into the armored car. I just, everything about that. I love the look of it, like the tone of it. Like that's perfection to me. Wild Hog 84. Have you ever had a supernatural experience? I remember a few times in high school when me and my friends would, I don't want to use the term break into, but get into abandoned buildings. Excuse me. And one time we snuck into this old schoolhouse. It looked like it was from like the 1800s. Like, you just know kids were murdered at the schoolhouse or something. Anyway, we snuck into this, and there was a large cafeteria. And I remember like hearing weird sounds coming to the end of it. And then we walked to look at the sounds. And then we looked back at the corner where the entrance was. And like something fell off the wall. It was like right where the doorway was. And that was a little too coincidental. But I do remember that. But then again, maybe the wind blew and something fell. I don't know. Benny, do you watch series like Planet Earth and Life? Yes, I do. And I love series like that. I love documentaries. I love things about real life Earth or space. Documentaries like that just blow me away. And when I first got a Blu-ray player, I did watch Planet Earth. I don't remember which Planet Earth it was. But yeah, the narration of that film, is it David Attenwell, or maybe I feel like I'm saying the wrong name, but either way, yeah, when he talks about like monkeys just doing things in their natural habitat, I love it. Like the visuals of Planet Earth are demo quality Blu-rays for if you want to sell someone on Blu-ray or 4K, that's what you have to show them. And yeah, I loved those. Nev African Dad Mom. Have you seen Shoemaker's Phone Booth? Great movie. I have seen Phone Booth with Colin Farrell. I watched it once. It was okay. It's a nice, simple movie. I liked the concept, but it was definitely a one watch for me. Never watched it again. Like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to like underrated Joel Schumacher films, I don't remember where it's at, but like 8mm, like I mentioned earlier. No one talks about that seedy shit. Go watch 8mm. Or Falling Down, another great underrated film of his. Didn't he direct the movie Number 23? That was pretty bad. The Stranger in the Alps. What's some actually scary, phenomenal horror? I'm sick of crap I've been watching. Also, thoughts on Rocky Horror Picture Show. Nice jacket, by the way. Thanks, man. Rocky Horror Picture Show, I was never really a big fan of it. It has Tim Curry in it, right? Never got into it. I don't know. Just never got into it. Some scary paranormal horror films. I don't know. Like The Exorcist is pretty good. If you want to talk like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of Poltergeist was always pretty good. Like modern day movies. Like I love The Conjuring. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. I'm trying to think of other modern day ones, but like a lot of modern day ones aren't that great. Maybe I'm missing one. Balto G, Halloween 2 from 1981 is the better sequel to the original Halloween movie. The 2018 Halloween movie was garbage. Well, if you want my in-depth thoughts on that, go watch my movie review of the 2018 Halloween movie. Clearly, I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. And yeah, I was not a fan. I thought like out of all the things you could do with this remake, like you have the money, you can do whatever you want. Like this is the time to like give fans what they want. And they sort of just copy and paste things from the original, but the copy and pasting was much worse. Like they duplicated things, but they did it for the worse. They didn't do it for the betterment of the film. Like they had like another Dr. Loomis who was just completely atrocious and a dumb character who made no logical sense in the movie. Yeah, I agree with you on the 2018 movie not being good. And Halloween 2 that takes place in the hospital, that's a pretty good movie. Yeah, that's a nice follow-up. You get what you expect. It's not as good as the original, but it's better than the 2018 movie. I do agree with you. I have peanut butter in my penis. That's a line in the 2018 movie. Just... Toasted Butter. Do you keep a list of all the movies you watch? Whenever I finish a movie, I write it down, and then at the end of the year, I go back and look over all the movies I watched. I think it's easy to do it. It's fun. I do not write all the movies down that I see. I really don't. No, I haven't. What I usually do is I usually do like Stardust reactions. If you haven't followed the Flick Pick on Stardust, we'll do so. I just did like 4 reactions today. But usually I do like quick little reactions on that app to movies I watched. And sometimes I can go back and look at that app. It's kind of like it keeps like a catalog of the movies I've seen with my quick thoughts on it. But no, I don't usually do a list. Now, when it comes at the end of the year to do like a top 10 list or something, I usually just go back and look at all the movies released for the entire year to kind of like refresh my brain. I'm like, oh, I did see that. So. And by the way, guys, I'm 23 minutes behind on your questions. I got to hurry up and catch up. I'm sorry. Tom Yostin. Hey, John. Okay, so favorite Ewan McGregor performance. Stay well, my friend. I don't know. I really liked him as Obi-Wan. But I don't think that's his best performance. The Tim Burton movie, Big Fish, or I forgot the name of it. What's another one? Why am I'm drawing a blank right now. It's about drugs, directed by Danny Boyle, I believe. Why can I not remember the name of this movie? He's addicted to heroin. Why can I not remember what this is called? Either way, I liked that. I thought that was a good performance from Ewan McGregor. Michael A. Hey, John. Hey again, John. Melbourne finally reopened, so I will be seeing Bill and Ted Face the Music. Will you be doing a video review? I feel like the time sort of... Train Spotting. Yes, thank you, guys. My brain... Oh, and someone mentioned The Island. I also really enjoyed that. I think that's one of the better Michael Bay movies, in my opinion. It's getting hot in here. I need to go turn the air on. Or take off this... I'm going to take off the drive jacket, actually. It's getting kind of hot. Yeah. Yeah, both those were good Ewan McGregor films. Also, another one no one talks about, I sort of enjoyed, was I Love You, Philip Morris with Jim Carrey. I sort of liked that movie. And as far as, and congratulations on seeing Bill and Ted, man. Why didn't you watch it on VOD, though? Did they not release it on VOD in Australia? That's where I watched it. As far as doing a review of it, I don't know. I didn't like it. I can tell you that. Like, I wanted to. I was so excited. I was anticipating it, and I was like, ew, that felt kind of underwhelming. Beatdown. Have you seen Black Box on Amazon Prime? I have not seen Black Box on Amazon Prime. The Z Review. Watched your vids for 3 years. You're a legend. Well, thanks, Z Review, man. Well, thanks. Let's make it 4 years. By the way, I'm going on 10 years of making YouTube videos. A decade. It's been a decade. It's been a long time. Balloon Raccoon. Have you watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix? I have not watched it. It's a limited series starring Anya Taylor-Joy. I know nothing about chess, but it's very good. Yeah, a chess movie sounds interesting. I like her as an actress. She was great in Split. She was probably the best thing about New Mutants. But no, I haven't seen it. I need to go check that out. Shane Murphy, thanks for the super chat, man. The trailers and movies. I just watched the movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Have you seen the movie? Another thing, I can't eat while watching the movie for some reason. How is it scary when there is little to amount of gore? Are you talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Yeah, I've seen it a few times. I've never loved it. I think the 2003 remake to me has more rewatchability. But I do agree with you about eating when you watch it. There's something about a horrifying man who rips people's faces off and wears it. I can't eat when I watch movies like Silence of the Lambs either. Like when you see Buffalo Bill like cutting people's skin off and like wearing it on his face down in his dirty, gross basement. Like when he's in his basement, I can literally smell the mildew. I can almost taste it. Try eating a bologna sandwich watching Silence of the Lambs and try not to vomit. We should try that. In Holmes 25, John, longtime Flickster watcher. Well, thanks, man. I've seen the ups and downs, and I'm glad to see you overcome life attempts to stuff a pillow over your face. Haha, it does indeed. It's good to see you are able to support yourself doing stuff. Keep it up. Well, thanks, man. And life does try to snuff you out every once in a while, and you got to fight back. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, In Holmes. Thank you for that. Ray Caprio videos. Hey, John, what if they brought Freddy back in an HBO or Netflix series with Dream Warriors, feel following characters in a mental hospital? Yeah, like making like a mini series based on Dream Warriors with Freddy Krueger. Okay, I could see that. I could see that going down, like a 5-part episodic series. Yeah, as long as they bring back Robert Englund as Freddy, I'm fine with that. And it's like, why not? Like, why not do that for next Halloween or something? That sounds like a great premise to me. Claudia Rogajon, would you care if Joker had no connection to Batman? If Joker was just a one-off movie and the only connection they made was what they mentioned in the movie where he confronts young Bruce Wayne, and they kind of have the ambiguous, like, is he the son of Bruce, the son of Wayne? Yeah. Yeah, I would be okay with that. I think if they just left it like that, how it is, and he lives in his own universe with references to Batman, maybe, or the Wayne family, that's enough for me. I'd be okay with that. Jose Sanchez, I saw the new film last Friday in theaters called Synchronic. It was so good, sci-fi blended with a human story. If you like Inception, check it out. Wow, I've never even heard of this. Synchronic? I've never even heard of that, man. Okay, I'll watch a trailer or something. What I was going to do, and I meant to do it, but then I just realized I'd rather go on with life, was I was going to watch Empty Man for the sake of doing like a review of it, and I just never got around to seeing it. I knew it was going to be an atrocious horror film. Maybe I'll go see Empty Man tomorrow, just for the sake of doing like a Halloween movie review. Maybe I should do that tomorrow. Like, I'll go see the matinee showing of Empty Man, all alone in the theater. I just don't want to pay for it. Just JDD24. What TV show have you rewatched the most? Which TV show have I mean, other than like, if you want to get technical, like Seinfeld, I've watched a lot. But Game of Thrones is one series I've honestly went back to rewatch the whole thing. I would say Game of Thrones is like the one thing I purposely went back. I didn't just catch a rerun on TV. I went back and rewatched the entire series of Game of Thrones. And then if I ever go do that again, I will never watch the last part of season 8. I won't do it. It'll ruin everything. Mr. Oakle 246 is a Halloween theme question. Do you remember a nightmare that really terrified you? I remember a few nightmares that really terrified me, and I'll give you one that specifically relates to Halloween. And this is a real dream I had. I remember I was on there was a huge lake, and it was a little bit foggy and misty. And there was this wooden dock that was like dilapidated that went across the middle of this lake. And I remember walking across this dock, and it was like early morning, like the sun was just coming up, and Jason Voorhees was in the water jumping up at me. And you know what I did? I didn't run away in the dream. I said, fuck this. I dived off the dock doing a falcon punch into Jason Voorhees' head, and then I woke up. And that dream solidified the fact that I'm not scared of shit. That's a real dream I had, though. But I was really proud of myself. Because I was like, I'm not going to run from this guy. I just felt like if I fought him one-on-one, I could win. Or I drowned instantaneously and he killed me. But that was a real dream. Wild Hog 84. Do you want them to make more of the Dark Universe? I just rewatched Wolfman with Del Toro. I don't mind it, but it's a shame they don't make more of them. That was a pretty bad movie. Even Joe Johnson came out after that film and said, I just needed money. That's why I made it. Yeah, they've tried many times with the Dark Universe to get it right, and they somehow just can't quite do it. Now with the Invisible Man film they made, I feel like they finally found something that works. And going that route, I think they're going to try to do things a little bit more small budget. They're not going to try to do this huge tie-in universe like they've been attempting to do with like really bad blockbuster-esque movies like The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which was just so fucking bad. Just so bad. But yeah, the newest one, Invisible Man, people liked, and now they're making a new Wolfman movie with Ryan Gosling, which will have the same theme and tone of Nightcrawler. Now that gets me excited. Now that's the direction that they should be going. But yeah, for many years they tried to get the dark, like Van Helsing was an attempt at making like a new series of Dark Universe films where Hugh Jackman, who plays Van Helsing in this film, this was supposed to be the first of many movies in this franchise. But it failed miserably. It was like a box office bomb. And I would have liked to have seen more, though. Shane Murphy, opinion of Kevin James, YouTube skits, editing great. I don't know what that means. Kevin James, I have never been a fan of Kevin James, never found him funny. When he played the president in the film Pixels, I hated every second of it. I never saw movies like Paul Blart, Mall Cop. As far as YouTube skits editing, I don't know what that's a reference to, but I don't know what that means. Brevins Flicks and Games. Hey, John. I recently reviewed Child's Play 2. Next up, possibly Sleepaway Camp, The Exorcist, or Candyman. On my Child's Play 2, I had Alex Vincent as a guest in the video, but be sure to check it out. Yeah, I'll look into that, man. That's pretty awesome. He was a guest. That's pretty neat. When it comes to Child's Play films, I like the first one the best, but I also enjoy the one with Tommy when he goes to military camp and the climax of the film takes place in a funhouse. I sort of always enjoyed that. Ermin Yabber, favorite Friday the 13th. Thoughts on Crispin Glover's legendary dance and Corey Feldman's laying into Jason with a machete in part. Is that part 4 or 5? Okay. Happy Halloween, John. Yeah, I think the quintessential one. Well, you have Tommy. Is it Tommy Jarvis, right? The character. Now, the first incarnate, you get young Corey Feldman who plays young Tommy. And I think overall that's probably the best Friday the 13th film, I think overall. And then you had the Jason, I forget the Returns or whatever, part 6, whatever one it is, where it opens up with him going to his gravesite and then an electric bolt hits it and like resurrects him. But I'll say the best one in my opinion is the one with young Corey Feldman. Easily the best one. Mason Arnold, DC Universe shows are completely different from CW. DC Universe shows are completely different from CW DC shows and are R-rated. Definitely check out Doom Patrol and the animated Harley Quinn show if you want something different than CW garbage. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've heard decent things about Doom Patrol. I know Brendan Fraser's in the show, which is good for Brendan Fraser. I just never got around to watching it. Luke O'Neill. Del Toro should have directed The Hobbit. Yeah, at least maybe. I don't know. What a missed opportunity. Like those movies just look like video games, and it was a blatant cash grab. Like they dragged out something that should have been one movie, maybe 2 movies into 3 movies. Yeah, I hated the Hobbit films. I remember watching them and being bored. Zesty African, Creep 1 and 2 are awesome. How do you feel about them? I've never seen Creep 1 or 2. I've never seen them. There's so many horror films I've never seen. There's just so many. It's like, it's impossible to catch up on them. Dylan Peter. Hey, John. Thoughts on Robin Williams' movie Flubber? I never was a fan of the movie Flubber. Huge fan of Robin Williams. It was a Disney movie, and you would think like I would like that. It came out in 98? And I just never got into it. I remember seeing it. Possibly, I think I saw it in theaters. And I just never got into it. I don't know what it was. I just never got into Flubber for whatever reason. And I was always like, let's go watch Hook instead of Flubber. Maybe I'm just not a fan of like green gelatin dancing around. Maybe I just don't find that interesting. Jacob Boli, thoughts on Taika Waititi directing the new Star Wars movie? Tonally, it could be fun and refreshing. I'm a huge fan of him thus far. I loved what he did with Thor Ragnarok. I think he injected new life into the Thor series. So him directing a new Star Wars flick, I'm all for it. Yeah, please. I want to see how it goes. Andres Herrera Gomez. Quick thoughts on Sky High, The Devil's Advocate, and The Devil's Advocate. Sky High, the Kurt Russell movie, I believe. I think I've seen it maybe once. I don't recall a lot about it. And The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, right? Also saw that once, probably like in the late 90s. And I don't recall a lot about it. I just know like Al Pacino plays a lawyer who's sort of like the devil. That's all I remember about it. Obed Orzaga. You don't even live there. Is this Jody? The Jody that goes to Mabu? The Jody that got Mabu pregnant and don't take care of his responsibilities as a man? I love Baby Boy. Ain't my son. I love when the little kid's building a fort and then Snoop Dogg knocks it over. I fucking love it. Rando Commando 41. Who wants Chernobyl? Oh, the series on HBO? Now, Chernobyl, yeah, that was a great HBO series. Loved it. Radiation's pretty scary. Dylan Peter. Thoughts on Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield. Never seen it. That movie will make you think. Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield. Okay. I've never seen it. Speaking of Andrew Garfield, I did just watch The Social Network again for like the 28th time. A great Fincher flick. I don't know. That movie relaxes me when I watch it. I love it. And by the way, thanks to all 416 of you watching right now. Much appreciated, guys. Hector the Chill Guy. Thoughts on Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt. Ray Liotta gets beaten up pretty bad. Killing Them Softly, I've never heard great things about it. Like, no one's ever really recommended that movie to me. And I've went to watch it so many times. Like, I can picture the cover. It's like a black background with a Brad Pitt on it with a shotgun, right? And like white letters. I've never got around to watching it. I don't know why. Zach Reach. Hey, John, currently on 17-hour car drive, so thanks for keeping me entertained. Anyway, check out the synthwave album, Akuma, by Alex and Tokyo Rose. You won't be disappointed. Well, where are you? 17-hour car ride? Where the hell are you going? Are you driving to the moon? What are you doing? Take a plane, man. Well, good luck on your car ride, and I'm glad I can give you a mild form of entertainment for a few hours. And keep in mind, I do have many live streams that you can go watch. There's probably like 100 plus hours of live streams for your listening pleasure or your viewing pleasure, whatever you want to do. But yeah, have fun on your trip, man. I will. I'm a huge fan of synthwave, so I'll look into it. Also, another great synthwave group is a band called Gunship. Really good. Lone Tiger. Hey, John, how let me learn how to read. Hey, John, how's your week been? I've been pretty busy with life, but wanted to ask when you're watching Mandalorian 2. I want it as soon as it comes out at midnight. Yeah, that comes out tonight, right? Possibly at midnight or sometime in the morning. If I'm up tonight, I'll probably watch it. I have nothing better to do, so yeah, I'll look at it tonight. Yeah, doesn't Disney release it randomly in the middle of the night sometimes? So I'll have to figure out when it's on. Maddo, my first time watching John Carpenter's Halloween was when it came out on 4K a couple of years ago, and I've been watching it every Halloween to make the tradition for myself. Do you think you will be watching Halloween on Saturday as well? Yeah, like I said in the beginning of the live stream, if you missed it, I talked about all my favorite horror films, and I specifically said I will be watching this on Halloween. By the way, the discs are loose in this case. I need to fix that. It's the quintessential Halloween film. You got to watch it. Oh, hi, Mark. I always thought that bad lighting in night scenes in horror movies in the 70s and 80s always added to the realism. Night scenes in movies today look totally artificial, and that's because they are. They're overlit. Like, they think, like, there's something about when a character is running outside and you can just tell there's, like, studio lights shining on them, and you're like, where does that artificial light come from? No, I would rather, when it comes to a horror film, I would rather it be underlit. I would rather not see anything during that sequence because something about that's much more terrifying. Like you said, it adds to the realism. I enjoy that. When there's too much lighting and there's like a camera crew behind the camera, it sort of takes you out of the moment just a little bit. So I do agree with that. Lucas Bernowskowitz. What will happen to Nacho and Kim Wexler in BCS? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to Kim Wexler and Better Call Saul. I don't know, man. It sort of left us on a cliffhanger, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. I'm so, like, I know season 6 has been delayed due to the pandemic, so give it to me. I want it. And what's going to happen to Saul Goodman? Like, what happens? He's in hiding? I want to know what happens to his future. Lone Tiger, what university did you graduate from? I went to UT Austin. I went to a school called International Business College in Indiana. And I don't really recommend it, but that's where I went. Lone Tiger, we just answered that. Lone Tiger has another question. Whenever you film a video, do you have a script on the side prepared that you glance at while filming, or do you just talk without reading notes? Also, how many takes does it take for you to usually film? Good question. So when it comes to, the only thing I take notes for are typically movie reviews, because when you have a movie review, there's so much information and so many little details you want to get right. That's the only thing I really take notes for when it comes to YouTube videos. And there's some times where I do the same thing like 10 times in a row and I hate myself for it, because usually like the first or second take were good enough, but I sort of become a perfectionist and I talk so fast where I want to get out as much information as I possibly can. It's almost like word vomit. And sometimes I stumble and I mess up. So I redo it many, many times. And that's almost why I like doing live videos more, because I don't have a chance, or I don't have to go back and redo it over and over again. It's just live. I get one chance. And usually when I have one chance to do it, I do it best. Like I'm just like a one-take wonder. But if you give me the option to go back in and record it and edit it as many times and fix it, like I'm a perfectionist, so I hate myself. But there's been many times where I'll be doing like a movie review and I'll sit there for like an hour. And then I edit that review down to like 7 minutes. And I'm like, did I really need all 50 other minutes of shit? No, I did not. So, yeah, so it's typically my process. My name is Morgan Freeman. Thoughts on Andy Signore's controversy? That's like 4 years ago, man. I mean, I'm glad he came out and clarified some things and some assumptions, because not everything that was said was true. So yeah, I've never personally had a problem, and Andy was always cool with me. I used to I had a show on Screen Junkies called Movie versus Movie, and it was on their premium network. And that was fun, and he sort of gave me the opportunity to go out to LA and do that show, and that was really neat. I got to interview a lot of awesome people. I did movie fights multiple times, so I personally never had a problem with him. And when the controversy came up, I was like, oh shit. Like, the only thing I wish he would have done sooner, and I understand the delay, was I wish he would have came out a little sooner than he did and made it like a public statement saying, hey guys, this shit ain't true. But that took like 2 years. But yeah, that's, it's in the past. Beatdown. Are you excited for Showtime's Dexter limited series reboot, and thoughts on the show itself? I never watched Dexter, and I know what you're thinking right now. John, it's about a sociopath serial killer. Why that sounds like it was made for you. And I've been told that many, many times. And I've also been told that like some of the seasons are just not good, and you should like get past season 1 and enjoy. Like, I hate when people say that about TV shows, because it does not really inspire me. It doesn't inspire me to go watch them when they're like, yeah, skip season 1, season 2 is good, season 3 sucks. And it's just like, why would I go watch it? It doesn't sound great, but one day I will get around to watching it. As far as it coming back, I heard about that, and that sounds cool. Maybe I'll just watch that. Uh, I see what you tried to do here with your name. Don't do that shit, man. Come on, that's not cool. It's okay. As a MILF hunter, I'm kind of upset we didn't get a sex scene in Nightcrawler. Well, next time we're alone in your apartment, I want you to do the things I ask, not like the last time. A friend is a gift you give yourself. It wasn't necessary. Jacob Bolee. Best scare prank you've done or would want to do. I don't know. Best scare prank I've done? I don't know. Sometimes I put on a Michael Myers mask and scare people. When I was a little kid, I was easily influenced by movies. And I remember one time my sisters were babysitting me. I have older sisters. And when I was younger, they were babysitting me. My parents were out of town or something. Who knows? Maybe they were at the bar drinking. I don't know. But I remember we had like this rubber knife in our house. It was like a fake rubber knife. And I remember like chasing my sisters around the house with it. And it was a rubber knife, but they thought I was psychotic. And my one sister threw a remote at me to stop me. And I cried when it hit me. I was like, it's a rubber knife. But I could understand their terror. Okay, let's keep going. And that's what's wrong with me. Johnny Mendoza. Give me 3 action movies that have love stories that you think didn't need it at all. Love stories in movies, action movies that didn't need it at all. That's a tough question to tell you off the top of my head, man. That's a really tough question. Oh God, I don't have them off the top of my head. Broken Arrow with Christian Slater falls in love with the park ranger chick. I guess that wasn't necessary. Let me think of another one. I feel like the love story in Speed was needed. There was nothing wrong with that. The Point Break love story with Johnny Utah was, I think that was necessary. I'm trying to think of like a love story in an action movie that wasn't needed. I'm sure it exists. If you guys want to chime in in the chat and let me know, I'll read some of them. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one right away. Like I didn't give a shit about the love story in Avatar, if that's one. I just really didn't care about Jake Sully making love to a 9 foot tall blue alien woman. Though I did enjoy it though. I just didn't care. Lone Tiger. Any classic movies you believe you must have as steelbooks? I just started collecting and looking for recommendations. I would say I'd only want to own my favorite movies as 4K steelbooks. It's just, I'm picky. Just because a steelbook exists doesn't mean I want to buy it. I'm all about the artwork. Like I went to buy the Avengers Endgame steelbook and I didn't like the way it looked, so I didn't buy it. But like that where is it? The Kick-Ass steelbook. I like the way this looks. I'm a fan of that. I like it. That's one. There's many steelbooks I don't like the way, but like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know if the 4K has a steelbook, but the Blu-ray is like a yellow steelbook. I really enjoy the way that looks. I have a few steelbooks. What else do I have back there? Oh, the Baby Driver steelbook looks pretty good on 4K. I recommend that. That's a really good looking one. Can I do a steelbook collection video? No, that's too... I don't like to do that niche of a video. Like, I'll talk about all my favorite 4K movies, but to do a specific video just on my steelbook movies, it's like I'm saying all the same shit I said before, but now I'm just referencing that they're in a steel case. I don't think it's necessary. My name is Morgan Freeman. Have you heard the Sour Patch Kids store in New York? Have I heard about the Sour Patch Kids store in New York? No, but I want to buy a plane ticket immediately and go there. I'm going there one day before I die. Okay. Just JDD24. Have you ever watched the deleted scenes from Back to the Future 2 where Marty runs into a drunk brother outside of Biff's hotel? I'm glad it was deleted. Yeah, I do remember that scene, and it felt so out of place, and his brother is like playing, like his acting as a drunk guy is like really terrible, and it stands out like a sore thumb. I'm glad they deleted that scene as well. Jose Sanchez. Plus, Synchronic has Anthony Mackie, and it's time travel horror sci-fi movie from the guys that made Endless Spring films. Okay, interesting. It's got Anthony Mackie. I like Anthony Mackie. Okay, I'll check it out, man. Synchronic. Synchronic, okay. Mental note. Let me read the chat. I want to see if you guys said any action movies that were just like unnecessary. The Matrix. I did think about The Matrix, but he needed to say Trinity at that one moment. Batman Begins. That is a good one. Yes, I felt nothing in the original Batman Begins between Bruce Wayne and Katie Holmes. I felt nothing. Rachel! Like, if she would have just died right there, that would have been great. That would have even been a better sacrifice for Batman to, like, have more tragedy and for him to, like, have true vengeance. I would have liked if she died. That would have been great. Like, let the poison just take her over. You've been poisoned with a psychotropic hallucinogen, and you're going to die soon. Grim Silo, weekly check to see if you watched The Gentleman. I'm sorry, Grim. I have yet to watch The Gentleman. I've been watching a lot of scary horror films this week. It's almost Halloween, man. But I do have The Gentleman on 4K in front of my TV downstairs to watch. I promise you I will watch it, okay? Night King 01, thoughts on The Mummy 1999, entertaining movie, nice tribute to the Universal films, and Brendan Fraser would have been the next Indiana Jones. I mean, he got closest to as Indiana Jones as he could in that film. I enjoyed the Mummy film. It's like a big budget B movie directed by Stephen Summer. Really enjoyed it. I even enjoyed the sequel when I was younger and watched both of them. The third one was terrible. But yeah, I loved the Mummy. I thought that was exactly what it should have been. Yamon John, please react to Rambo MK11 gameplay on YouTube. Yeah, no. I saw a clip of it. It's Rambo in a Mortal Kombat game. What do you like? How do you react to that? I don't. Okay, there it is. I don't know what you want from me. Cool, I guess. I don't really play the new Mortal Kombat games. I like the old side scroll, like the side version games. The new ones, not really a fan of. Does he at least whip out his gun and like as a fatality and just shoot the dude? That would be cool. Actually, probably whips out a bow and arrow with a grenade on the end of it and shoots it into him and he blows up. That better be a fatality. Is that a fatality? Let me know. Lone Tiger. I made a video about this on Instagram. But here are very first 4K movies I've bought so far. Wonder Woman, Halloween 78, Gladiator. Also got Saving Private Ryan and Fallout on 4K Steelbooks thoughts. Good selection, man. Good selection. All good. I have Gladiator and Braveheart, the Steelbooks, and I don't really like the Steelbooks that much. I don't like the way they look because they have like a white background to them. I'm just like, I hate when they do that. Like, make it look cool. Don't make it look bland. Haley, hey John, have you watched Dexter? If so, what are your thoughts on the new Dexter limited series? Didn't I just talk about this a few minutes ago? Maybe you missed it. I just talked about that a few minutes ago. I never watched Dexter the series, but something about the limited series gets me more excited. So I'll go back and watch that because I'm sure they're going to film it in such a way where you don't need to watch the previous seasons. So if that is great, maybe that'll inspire me to go back and watch the original series. Chris P. Bacon. Hey, John, I recently watched Hostel again, and it's one of the most offensive movies I've ever seen. Slovakia is one of the safest countries in the world where backpackers don't get tortured after hitting up chicks. Well, maybe they should. Maybe it'll increase tourism. I liked the first Hostel the first time I saw it. Now, the Hostel films were during the genre of the early 2000s to the mid 2000s where horror films were essentially like torture porn. Like you had the Saw series, then you had Hostel 1 and 2. I enjoyed the first Hostel film. Just the concept alone is kind of intriguing to me. And then you have the one creepy guy who's in there with like he's in the hostel or in the chamber and he has like the rubber apron on and he has the scissors and he goes, ha, ha, ha. I love it. But upon rewatch, not that great of a movie. Mason Arnold. I have an idea for Halloween flick. Two XO players get kidnapped on Halloween night because they are mistaken for actual superheroes. Thoughts? Oh, cosplay players? Why would they get kidnapped? I don't get it. I don't get it. They get kidnapped on Halloween because they're super. I don't get it, man. I'm sorry. Here's my idea for a good Halloween movie. Just make a good one. Just make it good. Like, just give us what we want to see. I'm still trying to comprehend your question about cosplayers getting kidnapped. Interesting, though. Okay, Jordan, would you stand a better chance against Freddy Krueger or Pennywise? I like to sleep. I like to sleep long hours. So Freddy would probably, he would get me at some point. Pennywise has never really terrified me that much. I'm like, okay, he's a creepy clown, but maybe if I buy a slingshot and shoot things at him, he'll get sucked back down into his pipe or something. And plus, Pennywise only comes around every 20-something years. I can live with that. That's fine. Works for me. I'll see you in 20 years, man. It'll be fine. I'll be in my 50s. Kill me then. Melvin Chillin. If you haven't seen Clown, produced by Eli Roth, I suggest you see it. Very creepy. Not a lot of people talk about it. Please check it out. I don't think I have seen Clown, but I remember his one film, Green Inferno, which was just interesting concept, terrible execution. Mahfouz Ahmad, Bronx Tale, underrated. I guess. I don't think it's underrated. Don't people really enjoy that? Lucas Bernowskowitz, since you have the Buffalo Bill graphic, I need to hear your amazing impression. I've already done the Buffalo Bill impression earlier in the live stream. Oh, my nose is just... yeah, I did my Buffalo Bill impression earlier in the live stream. I don't know if I want to do it again. Or maybe I do. Give me back Precious. Okay, that's enough. My name is Morgan Freeman. Funniest farting story that you had in a theater that you unleashed or that you smelled. Okay. I don't think I like to be silent. But I don't remember someone farting in the theater specifically, but I just remember when I saw Avengers Endgame, the guy beside me had some kind of infection in his mouth and he was sitting right beside me. And every time something cool happened in the movie and he'd go, ha ha ha, or laugh, his breath was so intoxicatingly bad that it smelled like a dead body rotting from the insides of him. And there was some kind of rotting inflammation going on in his mouth. This so disgusting. It ruined the entire experience. Dylan Peter. Tom Hanks was perfect casting for Castaway. Am I right? Absolutely. I think Castaway is one of the most perfect screenplays ever written. And not a lot of people love watching Castaway over and over on repeat. A lot of people would say it probably doesn't have that rewatchability factor. But I rewatch that film all the time, at least once a year. It truly relaxes me when I see Tom Hanks alone on that island. I don't know. It's like watching films like that. I love films that have like a true sense of voyeurism in them, where you can just watch a character like live their life. It's something about that. And I can't imagine anyone else in Castaway. Maybe like Nicolas Cage. Maybe. Mohad or Mouz Omad. Ever crop dust at Walmart or any store? All the time, man. All the time. And as soon as you do it, you gotta go around the corner and leave the scene. But then again, Walmart smells like one big giant fart half the time, so it all blends in. Rando Commando 41. Do you ever see yourself doing something other than YouTube as your primary job in the future? Maybe. I can't really see myself working for anyone ever in the future. I just can't. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but it would definitely have to be something in a creative field, maybe advertising or marketing, or maybe working with other YouTubers in the future. Maybe that. There's been a lot of companies I worked with, marketing companies, who have given me opportunities, but I don't think sometimes they have the best ideas when it comes to connecting with people. They sort of are very corporate. So I would like to do what they do maybe in the future. But yeah, if the YouTube thing doesn't work out, I definitely, I don't know exactly what I would do, but one day I'm probably going to have to do that. What is it going to be? I'm not quite sure. I wish night crawling was like a real thing. I know there's a certain level of reality to it, but I wish, like in the film Nightcrawler, it was like very similar to that. That would be great, but then I'd have to move and be a little bit sadistic to be the best in the business. Melvin Chillin, do you remember your first Halloween costume? My very first Halloween costume? No, I do not. But I do remember this. And if you follow me on Instagram, if you scroll back a couple years, before the film Scream came out, where you have Ghostface, before that movie even came out, I found that same mask like a year or two before the movie. And I would wear that mask during the entire month of October in our front yard staring at cars. We lived on the corner of a busy road. So I would put the Ghostface mask on with like a black gown and stand in our front yard staring at traffic. When I was like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old. That's what kind of kid I was, okay? And I actually have a picture of it on my Instagram. My mom took it of me when I was a young kid. If you find it, maybe I'll share it again since it's almost Halloween time. Yeaman John, is Stallone the greatest iconic multi-franchise actor of all time? Rocky, Rambo, or is it Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, Star Wars? I would probably say I'm probably more of a fan of Stallone. I think his acting and his range and his charisma is always connected with me more than Harrison Ford's. I mean, yeah, he was Rocky, he was Rambo, two great iconic franchises. He was also Judge Dredd. I am the law. I didn't say it was good. I just said he was Judge Dredd. So I agree with that. And plus, he's also been in some great. He's given some great performances along the way in other standalone films. So yeah, I love Stallone. Mahuz Ahmad, watch Exorcist for the first time, was so good. Yeah, I have not seen Exorcist in many years. I always remember it being super long, and I watched it maybe once in my life. Your mother does something in hell. That was always a great line. Oh, hi, Mark. Shattered Glass for me was an underrated film. Thoughts? I don't think I've ever seen Shattered Glass. I don't think I've seen it. Claudio Rogajon, is your Uncle Gary still incarcerated? More or less. I mean, define incarcerated. Does he live in his own version of hell mentally? Probably, yes. Kofi F. Walking Dead is ending after season 11. John, thoughts? I don't give a shit. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in like 5 years. I started loving it. The first like 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons. Pretty good. And then it became a melodrama where the characters were too stupid for their own good. And it became so frustrating to watch. I gave up watching The Walking Dead. When it comes to the final season, maybe I'll watch the final season. Maybe just to watch it, to see how it ends. But I have a feeling I'll be highly disappointed. Night King 01. Just one thing, John. Tenet review. Maybe in November. Better late than never, right? It's not like there's a lot of new movies to talk about, so maybe I'll just save it for November. I'll make it happen, don't worry. Zeus's butthole. Yeah, the Sour Patch Kids store has bags where you shovel all of your flavors of Sour Patch Kids into them. Life-size Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kid cake, ice cream, cotton candy, and merch. I figured it would be heaven for you. Sounds fucking incredible. I'll tell you one thing they need to make is a Sour Patch Kids energy drink. Why have they not created their own energy drink line? You tell me. Now, if you combine those two things into one. Now, I know Sour Patch Kids has some pre-workout flavors. I know that. I know that. But once they start actually producing Sour Patch Kids energy drinks in a can I can go buy at the store, that'll be a dream come true. Beatdown, is Zack Snyder underrated or overrated? He's rated as he should be, in my opinion. He's made some good movies, but he's made some really bad movies. Just movies that lacked any substance. Like, visually, he can make a cool movie, but sometimes he forgets the substance, or sometimes the movie becomes a little too messy for its own good. I think visually speaking, he's a much more competent director, like than Michael Bay, for example, that gives you like those bombastic visuals. And he's a little bit better at storytelling. And I like some of his movies. There's just some movies I don't like of his. And I think there's some movies he could have made better than he did. Yeaman John. Rambo has 2 fatalities in MK11. One is throat ripping. That's great. From 2008 Rambo. Another one is an explosive arrow and electrocution from Rambo 2. Okay, that sounds great. It sounds... Finish him! I love it. How in Zeus's butthole. I have made my girlfriend watch the entire Star Wars saga. Has Amber tried to make you watch the Harry Potter series? Yeah, I saw a few of them. We actually, the one Harry Potter movie I did see technically, well, the second Harry Potter movie I saw in the theater, we went to an orchestra, and they were playing the live score to the Harry Potter film as it was presented up on a big screen, and that was a cool experience. Also, I believe they were going to do Home Alone that same year, and I never got a chance to see it, but that would have been great, where they played the John Williams theme to Home Alone. Oh, that would have been great. Lucas Bernoskowitz, favorite Office episode? Anything with Mose in it is my favorite Office episode. Like, Mose, the character of Mose just makes me laugh my ass off every time I see him. Rosmaz Johnson, hi John, big fan. What classic film surprised you by being better than you imagined? I recently saw On the Waterfront for the first time and loved it. Well, that's a good one. Okay. Which classic film surprised me? How classic do you want to go? I mean, when I was a kid, like, do you consider the 70s classic films? I do. If you want to go earlier than that to the golden age of Hollywood, okay. But I would honestly say, like, when I was a kid, I remember watching, like, The Warriors on beta tape that my dad recorded off HBO. That was a great experience. One classic film, I consider Taxi Driver a classic film from the 70s. What is it, 76? The first time I watched Taxi Driver was probably somewhere in the mid-2000s. And I always remember seeing the cover of it on VHS at video stores with Robert De Niro's face and his mohawk. And I was like, what is this? It's like I never rented it. And then I finally watched it, and I was so blown away by it. And I think that's why it's probably overall my favorite Martin Scorsese film. Joseph Jackson. Hey, John, what is your scariest pizza delivery story? Well, if you guys didn't know, for many years I did deliver pizzas. It was one of the funnest, most adventurous, crazy jobs I ever had. And it was so great. One of the scariest stories was I was delivering to a meth head motel. It was very cold out. It was very dark out. And this motel is no good. It's like a shitty motel. It just looks like something out of a horror film where someone gets mutilated. So I go to knock on the door. And this like lady opens the door all like fidgety and cracked out. She's like, come in, my baby's getting cold. And like you can see inside the hotel room, there's no baby in this hotel room. But what there is when I looked at the crack of the door, there was a guy behind the door like this. Yeah, that was a murder about to happen. So I remember just saying, nope, and turn around and leaving. Yeah, that was one kind of creepy story. I have a few others, but we'll save those for another time. Johnny Mendoza. If the first Transformers came out on the same day of The Dark Knight in a theater, do you think it would flop or succeed? It probably wouldn't make as much money. But whenever two big films do that, it's a detriment to both films. It's like, why don't you guys are both just punishing each other and taking away from your own profits. So probably not, I would say. Unless it was like Transformers 2, in which case it got terrible reviews, so no one would I don't know. Probably not. Alex Weberg. Have you checked out Friday the 13th fan films, Never Hike Alone and the recent Never Hike in the Snow? They are great and have some of the same actors in part 6 like Tommy Jarvis. Oh, that's cool. I never saw them. I don't watch a lot of fan films. I don't know why. I just don't get into them. But those could be well done. Sometimes fan films try to overreach with what they can actually do. But like a Friday the 13th, it seems like you could make that happen. So yeah, I'll check those out, man. Sounds cool. I don't understand why the studio who owns Friday the 13th don't capitalize on that IP and make a new Friday the 13th continuation. Like, they did the shitty remake, which was really bad, but I it's like, why don't we have more Friday the 13th films? Like, they cost nothing to make. People go to see them. It doesn't make any sense to me. C-Funk 99. Hey, John. Even seen Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen Rain Man. Raymond. 101 Raymond. Yeah, I liked Rain Man. I saw it maybe once or twice. Probably in the last like 10 years I watched it. I think I watched it for the first time maybe like 10 years ago. And speaking of Tom Cruise, I just recently watched Jerry Maguire for the first time. And it was okay. Like, I guess I was like, after I watched it, I was like, I know why I went like 15 years without watching this movie. Or maybe 20 years, but yeah, I liked Rain Man. Melvin Chillin, have you ever egged in house or any prank on Halloween? My car was covered in shaving cream last year. I don't think I've ever egged a house. I remember one time in high school, there was my friend, I think there was a kid fucking with my friend or like try to bully him or something in high school. I don't remember the or the backstory on it, but this kid was fucking with my friend. And in high school, I played paintball a lot. I had like a Tippmann A5 super duper paintball gun. I forget all the features I had on it. But it was a badass paintball gun. So we found this kid's car and we drove by it, and I literally unloaded like 6,000 paintballs on his car. You don't fuck with my friends. But yeah, I don't know. That doesn't relate to I guess it sort of relates to your story. I don't think I've ever egged someone's house just for the sake of doing it. Now, if you piss me off, I guess I would. Night King 01. Do you have any new shirts where I can get them? Dude, I have tons of new shirt designs. Yeah, click the link down below to Teespring. I have like 10 new shirt designs on there, including some of the originals like Steady Hands by Nightcrawler. I also have a This Is It, Don't Get Scared Now shirt. Where I have that somewhere. But yeah, click the Teespring link down below. I have tons of new shirt designs on there with some of my magical mystical. I have one coming that says magical and mystical, but I do have This Is It, Don't Get Scared Now, that shirt. And by the way, if you guys ever do pick up one of those shirts from Teespring down below, tweet me a picture of it. I will share that shit. Haley, do you have a favorite Hitchcock film? Mine's Rear Window. Yeah, I think overall Psycho for me was always like the quintessential Hitchcock film. Rear Window, that was... God, it's been... I remember I went through like a phase where I watched some of his films. There's so many I need to go back and revisit. I want to say I don't think I've seen Rear Window. Maybe I haven't. But that's one, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I need to watch some of his newest films. But for me, it was always Psycho. Mahooz Ahmad, thoughts on Road to Perdition, epic revenge tale. Yeah, great Tom Hanks movie as well. Really enjoyed it. I like the gangster aspect of the movie. Haven't watched it in a while, but I always enjoyed it based on like a graphic novel. Great movie. How in Zeus's butthole once again. How are you doing? No Shave November this year. I think you have a good start already. This is as far as I go with no shave. Anything. It just, after this, it starts looking really bad. I look like a burn victim trying to grow hair. It's just not a good thing. This is as much as I do. Claudia Rogajon, what did your Uncle Gary do? Please do tell. I don't technically have an Uncle Gary. I have another uncle. I call him Uncle Gary. That's not his real name. Just a weird guy. Just maybe an alcoholic. Yeaman John, best Alex Proas film, The Crow or Dark City. I feel like I'm screwing up his last name. Is it Proyas or Proyas? Dark City, I was never a big fan of Dark City. Like, that dude loved to make dark, gothic, rainy movies, didn't he? Probably The Crow, I would say, is probably the preference I would have. I never really liked Dark City. I never got into it. But The Crow was kind of cool. Fake Chris Stuckman. Hey, how are you doing, man? Sorry it's been busy lately, but I finally made it to one of your live streams when am I invited? Take care, man. Thanks, Fake Chris Stuckman. Melvin Chillin, have you ever been to a haunted hayride or haunted attraction? Please tell us your experience. I have been to a haunted hayride and a hay maze where they make a maze out of hay bales. But speaking of haunted attractions, a few weeks ago we went to the Ohio State Reformatory, and that's where they filmed The Shawshank Redemption. And I am in contact with the director of that facility to go there and do like a private tour and maybe make a video for you guys. And of course, I will do as many shitty Morgan Freeman impressions as I possibly can. You Secca Wine. Thoughts on Straight Outta Compton? I liked it. The only issue that I have with that film was some of it was a little too Hollywoodized. And what I mean by that is I believe the original artists like Ice Cube and everyone had final say on the actual production of the film. So of course you're not going to make yourself look bad whenever you have that power. So I felt like there was a lot of things that they left out that weren't quite flattering for some of the characters. I know I've read some real life events where it's like, yeah, some of these guys did some crazy shit that they didn't include in the film. But I guess overall, the overall tone of the vibe of it, I really enjoyed. And whatever happened to the sequel to that? Like going into the 90s, there's a lot of good stuff that happened along the way too. So I did like it. Jacob Bolee. Have you ever seen the Australian cult movie Wake in Fright? I have not seen it, from 1971. It's a gritty, drunk, violent film about a school teacher stuck in the outback town slowly going insane. The film is inspired by Martin Scorsese in the early days. Worth a watch. I think it's on Amazon. What is it called? Wake in Fright. Okay. Yeah, the one Australian horror film that stands out to me was, what was it called? Like Wolf Creek or something? I hated that. I hated that movie. I hated it with a passion. I don't know why. I remember seeing it in the theaters. I was like, I don't like this. It's so it's like blah. But I think it was based on true events, maybe. Johnny Mendoza. Say what you want about Michael Bay, but do you think he could have made more good movies if he never got involved with Transformers? Maybe, but then his later movies were like Pain and Gain, and I like the concept of Pain and Gain, not the execution. And I like some Michael Bay movies. I love The Island. I think The Rock is one of the best action films made in the 1990s. I like the first Transformers movie. I don't like as much as I used to, but Michael Bay's made some good stuff. Like Armageddon's a guilty pleasure for me. It just, yeah, he's just stopped making Transformers movies, Michael Bay. And then he made like the Netflix movie Six Underground, which was just so bad, just like the most generic, bombastic movie that just had every Michael Bay trope in it. Jay Maurer, first saw you on a Hilariosity review with Chris. Big fan. My favorite horror films are Final Destination and The Thing. Thoughts? The Thing's a good pick, man. The Thing is a good pick. Not my favorite Carpenter movie when it comes to horror films is obviously Halloween. And Final Destination that's good cheese. That's good fluff. The first Final Destination movie is still pretty good. I enjoy it. The second one is sort of a guilty pleasure movie. Everything after that I think is just bad. But I'm sure you guys will agree with me. Every time you're behind a truck that's carrying logs on it, you think of Final Destination. You just know those logs are going to fly off and go through your windshield, impaling your brain cavity. Alex Carr. I just now got the notification about your stream. Well, that was about an hour and a half late. I hate YouTube. Well, I hate it too. That's why you guys have to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Snapchat, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, and then you'll get the early notifications that I put out. It's the only way. You can't trust YouTube. What are some of your favorite movies to watch around Christmas? For me, those movies are Elf, Home Alone, and Jingle All the Way. I never loved Elf as much as some other people did. Like, I never loved Elf. Like, Home Alone 1 and 2, yes, that's my jam. Hook is another one. You rude crew bag of pre-food chew, dude. That's another great Christmas time movie. I would say those are some of my favorites. Jingle All the Way is another guilty pleasure. I'm not a pervert. I just wanted a Turbo Man doll. I'd go with those ones. And by the way, speaking of YouTube not giving you the notification, make sure you click that stupid fucking bell under the video. The little bell, like subscribing is no longer enough. You have to click the notification bell too. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys. Night King 01. The Matrix is almost a copycat of Dark City. Yeah, I know Matrix borrowed some ideas from Dark City stylistically. I haven't seen Dark City in many, many years, so I'd have to watch it again to really do a comparison. But yeah, I do remember it borrowing some things. Landon Lee, John, I'm always feeling tired at the gym. Any tips? More pre-workout, more caffeine. If you're swallowing it or drinking it, time to snort it, man. You gotta maybe start taking some vitamins. Start implementing some B12 vitamin into your system daily. That really helps. That's what I would recommend. Nick Fidel, hey John, finally saw Nightcrawler. It was great. Well, I'm glad you finally watched it. I hope I inspire you to do so. That would make me feel really good about myself. Yeah, just such a great movie, man. Can't go wrong with Nightcrawler. Like if someone doesn't like the film Nightcrawler, I don't understand how. Like I want them to explain it to me. You sack of wine. People say the Tupac movie All Eyes on Me was a sequel to Compton. Thoughts on the movie? I heard it was awful. I did not see the Tupac movie All Eyes on Me. Did not see it. A-Train 98, John, your favorite Office episode. That we got that question earlier, and I said anything with Mose in it was my favorite. Anything with Mose is like the most hilarious segment in The Office. Like when he's running up beside the car when they're driving down the driveway, just makes me laugh. Alexander Cromwell, has anyone ever told you you look like ScarJo? Yeah, probably. Maybe once or twice, or like 2,000 times. Yeah, I've heard it multiple times. And I guess that's a compliment, but in the same way, it sort of ruins Scarlett Johansson for you, doesn't it? And that's fine by me. You should play James Rogers in MCU movie, the son of Captain America and Black Widow. That's fine by me. Or maybe I'll play the new Biff Tannen. I've also heard I look like him as well. Make like a tree and get out of here. Alex Carr, one of my favorite horror movies that I watched this month is The Conjuring. Thoughts? I've been sending super chats for the last month as Alex, just too lazy to include my last name. Well, Alex, thank you for including your last name today. I love The Conjuring. I think that was one of the great modern day horror films that got it right. The director obviously knows what he's doing. He knows how to direct horror films. And the Insidious films alone, the first Insidious and the first Conjuring are like two of the best horror films in like the last 10 years, in my opinion, that just get it right. They do what they need to do. So absolutely. I have a review for the first Conjuring film and the second one on my channel if you want some more thoughts. Also, I have a really good skit at the beginning of the first Conjuring movie review I did that takes place in my basement back in 2013. Yeah, go check it out sometime. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to get a refill of the energy drink. But yeah, don't go anywhere. Just go get some more candy. Do whatever you got to do. Get another refill. 3 ice cubes, no more, no less. You guys know how it goes. And if you guys have any questions, any juicy questions that you really want me to answer, get those in right now during the break. And when I come back, I'll answer all of those questions. And as a wise man once said, I'll be back. It puts the movie in the Blu-ray player. It puts the movie in the Blu-ray player. It puts the fucking movie in the Blu-ray player, or else it gets the popcorn again. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That just came to me as I was walking back up the stairs. All right, guys, let's answer some more questions, and then we can possibly play a quick game of Pick the Flick at the very end. We could do that. We could do that. I don't know. It's up to you guys. If you guys want that to happen, let me know. And if you guys could help that stupid YouTube algorithm, let's break the YouTube algorithm. Give this video a thumbs up if you're just mildly entertained. If you're not, just give it a thumbs up anyway. I'm sorry. But it does help, and it tells YouTube, hey, don't suppress his video, YouTube. People are watching it. So I would appreciate that, guys, if you could. If not. All right. A few questions I had during the break. Just JDD24. I like that it's never explained how Marty and Doc know each other. I like that as well. It's like the ever-ending time continuum. It's because if you think about it, by the third movie, it's set up to where they would know each other in the 1950s, and then in the 1950s events, it's set up why they know each other in the 1980s, and then that clearly goes into the future. So it's like this weird loop of time that makes them like they know each other in the past because they know each other in the future. It's kind of bizarre, but oddly explained at the same time. Now, yeah, it's one of those weird things, isn't it? Like, where did they first encounter each other? I'm not quite sure, but I like that loop of it. Like, Claudio Rogajon. Alex Proyas said in a recent interview, a producer showed Dark City to the Wachowskis before it was released without his permission. That says a lot. It does say a lot. The other thing about the Wachowskis are they sort of like one-hit wonders. Like, they made the first Matrix movie, and then what did they make great? Like, they made Speed Racer. They made Jupiter fucking Ascending. I know they were producers on V for Vendetta, and that was like the best thing they probably ever produced. But like, what else did they, like, they made Cloud Atlas. Like, they didn't make a lot of great movies after the first Matrix, did they? You sack of wine. Morgan Freeman handing out candy to trick-or-treaters on Halloween impression. Hang on. Now, come on, Sonny. I don't have all day. Do you want a Baby Ruth or not? That's all I got. I'm sorry. Let's just keep going. Nick Kerr, what's your favorite candy bar? This video is sponsored by Baby Ruth. Baby Ruth is my favorite candy bar. No, I one candy bar I always, if I'm hungry and I'm in a gas station, I always get a Snickers. It always like hits the spot. Maybe a Snickers. But I like a lot of different candy bars, but Snickers just never gets old to me. Kit Kat's also really good. Nothing's better than like a Kit Kat and a Diet Dr. Pepper. I said it. Alex Carr. I feel like I've been living under a rock, but Steven Spielberg didn't actually direct Poltergeist. All of my life, I thought he did. Do you know about this? Yeah, I do know all about that. So the reason you thought that is because he sort of did direct Poltergeist uncredited. During the production of Poltergeist, there was a lot of issues with the director, and Steven Spielberg essentially had to step in and handle the movie. And more or less, it's been said that he directed that movie. That's why it probably turned out as good as it did. Poltergeist 2 always scared the shit out of me, though. The creepy old guy who comes to the front door. Let me in. Let me in. All right, guys. Here's another question. C-Funk99. If all the theaters close down, can the big corps like Disney do their own movie theaters? And do you think Nick Nolte impressions, please? Thank you. It's a real nice thing we do for that boy in that tank, Tommy. That's my Nick Nolte impression. I'm sorry. The thing is, if studios started opening up their own theaters, here's the dilemma. They would probably not show other studios' movies, just their own. So then you'd have 10 different movie theater franchises just showing their own movies. Thus, wouldn't really sustain business unless they allowed other movies to show in their theater, which would just be a complicated mess. I think like somebody like Amazon needs to step in and make their own theaters. I think that would be realistic. But then again, maybe the whole motto, the whole concept of movie theaters will go away. I hope they never do, but it's one of those things like if things don't get better, they could go away. They really could. All right. Do you guys want to play a game of Pick the Flick really, really quick before we go? I can wrap up this live stream with a quick game of Pick the Flick. Let me know, guys. If you guys want to play the game, give the video a thumbs up. If we can get over 310 thumbs up in the next minute, I'll play Pick the Flick. If not, I'm going to go to bed angry. just let me know if you want to. It's up to you guys. You guys decide. The future's not written, Marty. You guys decide what happens. Is the Poltergeist 2 good? I remember little things about it. I definitely don't think it's as good as the first movie, but it does have some creepy ass shit in it. The next one comes from Claudio Rogajan. I thought The Matrix was overrated and not the first film to do the first film not to do your reality is fake, and the action is good, but there's better, and the romance sucks. I like The Matrix. I won't talk shit about the first Matrix films. Now, I'll talk shit all day about the sequels, which were just terrible, soulless, dumb sequels, where I felt nothing about anything. But the first one was great. I liked the whole concept of how humans were essentially batteries for machines. I liked it. But I get what you're saying. Our gal, do you watch the trailer for Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon yet? No, I did not. I don't know anything about that yet. No, I'm sorry. I did not watch the trailer for that. All right. He says pick the flick. Oh, we have 318 thumbs up. Okay. I'm a man of my word, and I will play pick the flick with you guys. And by the way, did they actually release... Is it a fact that they actually released the new Halloween Kills trailer? I'm going to look this up real quick. Halloween Kills trailer. Let's see. Wow, 7 hours ago. They did indeed. Let's click this shit. There's an ad. Hang on. We'll play Pick the Flick, but let me get this trailer queued up. Okay. It's 46 seconds long, so it's definitely a teaser at best. But and I get why they did it. It's a little treat for us for Halloween. Okay, we'll watch that at the end of this. So don't go anywhere. I'll do a quick live trailer reaction to Halloween Kills. All right, guys, let's play Pick the Flick. And if you guys are new to the live stream or you haven't witnessed a Pick the Flick segment yet, what I do is I more or less pick the flick. I pick a random movie back there off my shelf, and here's how it works. You guys pick which movie I pick off the shelf, and here's how it works. It's row 1 through 6. So you say row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Then you tell me which side, left or right, and then you tell me how many movies in you want me to pick. So you can say row 5, left side, 25 movies in. And I go randomly pick that movie and I talk about it for a few minutes. So real quick, enjoy this cringe-inducing intro to Pick the Flick. It's the scariest thing you'll see this Halloween season. Here it goes. Pick the Flick! Yay! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, the first one comes from Jacob Bowley. Middle row, third down, 7th from the right. Okay, let me go pick that. You could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. I love Full Metal Jacket. Hang on. This could be probably my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. At least the first act of this film I think is so great and phenomenal. What I love about this movie is the first act. It's one of those films where the first act is the best part of the whole movie. Once the soldiers go off to war beyond boot camp training, I lose I don't remember all the details about it, but everything that happens at boot camp in this film it's just so perfect. You couldn't reproduce this. So Full Metal Jacket, and I have the cool little digibook of it. And I also when this first came out, I did a skit of this where I play the drill sergeant, and my two little brothers are in the opening skit. So if you want to type in like Full Metal Jacket Blu-ray review, flick pick or something, you'll see that amazing skit. It's phenomenal in every way. The next one is just JDD24, fourth row, fourth from the right. Okay. What about these apples? Good Will Hunting, great film, written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, who went on to never write another screenplay, which I find odd. I felt like they paid someone for this screenplay because they knew it would be a great introduction into Hollywood. Because why didn't they ever go to write really anything else? Like, it's weird. But I do believe Ben Affleck has talent behind the camera, obviously, as a director. But I just always found it weird. They never got together and wrote another screenplay. But this was one of the best supporting performances ever given by Robin Williams in this film. So it's like phenomenal in every way. Near perfect. The next one is Claudia Rogajan, third row, 20th from the right. Okay. What's this? Oh. Good pick. Bad Lieutenant. Probably the most hilarious Nicolas Cage film ever made. Now, this is sort of like a dark comedy, in my opinion. And I think I've shared this story once or twice throughout the years on YouTube. But I remember going to an art house theater, and I watched this film when it first came out, and there was nothing but older people in the audience because it's like an art house theater, and it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And me and my friend went to see this, and me and my friend are huge fans of Nicolas Cage. Like, we get the humor, like the subtle undertones of Nicolas Cage and things that only he can do or say and get away with. And we were laughing our asses off. Like, I was laughing so hard I almost choked on my popcorn. And all the old people in the theater were like, why is he laughing? This is a drama movie. I'm like, there's a guy breakdancing on the floor, and there's like a weird iguana cam going on. It's just... And the scene where he comes out behind the door at the nursing home and he grabs the old lady's oxygen tube. Just fucking, oh my God. I think I laughed for 20 minutes. So great. Argyle, Behind the Mask is a movie I told you about last stream on Amazon. Mockumentary about a guy that wants to be the next Michael Myers. Row 6, 9th movie. Okay, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, the mockumentary sounds great. I'm going to try to, okay, mental note. I want to see that. I do want to see that. That sounds good. Okay, so row 6, 9th movie. Okay, I'll pick the 9th movie from the right. Wait, I don't, 3, 4, 5. I don't have 9 movies on this row. On the 6th row, I only had like 5 movies. I'm sorry. So I have Last Action Hero here. Saw this in theaters with my dad. I always enjoyed this. I don't think it's great, and I think it was ahead of its time. It's like a satire on action movies. And there's room for improvement, to say the least, but I always enjoyed like the Ripper in this film, the villain who has like an axe. Just great film. And the kid Danny in here, where he, the one aspect about the movie I like is this kid lives in like a shitty reality, and his escape from that reality is going to the theater to watch his favorite action movies, and his favorite action star is Jack Slater. And my favorite scene is where he's watching the new Jack Slater movie, and it shows this intro, and like during the intro it's like a wall, then the wall blows up, and behind that wall is another wall, and it's made out of like bricks, and that blows up, and it's playing like really cool metal music, and I'm like, I love everything about that. So Last Action Hero, really good movie. Night King 01. I'm going to pick just a few more of these, and we'll get back to like the normal Q&A. Night King 01, first row, 10th from the left. All right. Elliot. What a creepy little finger that was. Yeah, the E.T. 4K special edition. I bought this in a Black Friday video like 3 years ago, and I have yet to open it, still in the plastic. I like the concept of E.T. I like the thought of it being out there. I'm glad it exists. I was just never a big E.T. fan. I don't know what it was. I just never, wasn't one of my favorite Spielberg movies. I think it's good. It was never one I loved watching over and over. All right, let's make this the last one. So no more pick the flick questions or Melvin Chillin, 4th row, 10th from the left. This will be the last one. No more, please. 4th row, 10th from the left. Who you gonna call? That's good pick, man, for Halloween. I guess I haven't watched Ghostbusters on Blu-ray in a long time. It's still in the plastic. I always watch it on TV. And speaking of Ghostbusters, my Slimer. Yeah, Ghostbusters, obviously one of the best. Giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. What can I say about Ghostbusters that hasn't been said already? Don't you wish that was a real occupation? Like you could join the Ghostbusters? I know I do. I either want to be a real life Nightcrawler or a real life Ghostbuster. And by the way, the new Ghostbusters movie, think about this. We should have already seen that by now. Isn't that weird to say? Like we should have already watched that movie. Maybe next year. All right, let's continue on. John Gomez. Hey, John, just finished Nightcrawler. Damn, what a movie, but gotta admit, the soundtrack is a bit lacking. Thoughts? How about Nightcrawler with Drive soundtrack? I disagree with you. There's some good original scores in Nightcrawler. It has like an 80s vibe to it. But something about the soundtrack in Nightcrawler is very subtle, which says something about how good the movie is. But I do agree, maybe if it had more of like a Drive. But then again, the film Drive relies so heavily on the soundtrack to make, so I disagree with you, but I would like if there was a few more scores in Nightcrawler that really stood out. I would agree with that. But yeah, the soundtrack to Drive is phenomenal. I listen to it all the time. Like Real Hero. Oh, so good. Jacob Bolee, random DVD pick. I'll reach back here and pick one random DVD. That's my DVD shelf. Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. I've always enjoyed this movie. Escape from Alcatraz on DVD. Okay. Joseph Jackson. Hasta lasagna. Don't get any on ya. Emilio Estevez. Mission Impossible. Good night, John. Good night to you too, my good sir. Yeah, Emilio Estevez was in the first Mission Impossible movie. He played a character named Jack, who's the tech guy who's on top of an elevator and he dies. What a waste of Emilio Estevez. You sack of wine. Favorite movie musical? Probably Willy Wonka. I would say that. Probably Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder. Oompa Loompa. Yeah, definitely that. I'd definitely go with that. All right, guys, I'm going to watch this. You guys want to watch the Halloween Kills trailer and then call it a night for this special edition of the Halloween live stream? All right, I think I'm too stupid to bring this up on my software. I will try, though. Hang on. Does that do anything? Come on. I was going to try to bring it up in the window. Maybe I'll have to add it later somehow. Hang on. Let me see. I think I can make this work. Oh, wow. I can bring up the chat right there. That's pretty cool. I didn't know I could do that. Okay. I think I know what's happening right now, but I'm not sure. Okay. When you guys are looking at this right now, can you see YouTube? Let me see if this brings up you. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to make the trailer play here as well. Hang on. The stream is like lagging behind. So we will watch the Halloween Kills trailer momentarily. Let me just make sure this works. Hang on. Just 1 second. There it is. Okay, cool. Okay. So let's push play on this thing and watch it. Turn up the volume here so I can hear it. All right, let's watch the Halloween Kills trailer. Here it goes. Here's a live reaction.
Next and someone is alone. He kills.
We have to wait another year. Oh, wait, I'm gonna go. So it looks like there's some hospital scenes, which are reminiscent to the second Halloween film. But I like the score in this. I like the kind of like the remix of the Halloween theme. Looks cool. I like the one shot where he slashes the guy. Hopefully the tone is better than the last 2018 one. I like the shot where he's picking up his mask off the asphalt. And there's some dude with a baseball bat. So yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's just like a 40-second teaser trailer. But I'm digging it, guys. I'm digging it. What do you guys think about the Halloween Kills teaser trailer? I mean, you don't see a lot, but the tone looks like a Halloween movie to me. I hope they just go for it and don't hold back anything. I just found a baby skunk in my backyard. What did I miss? Probably 30, 40 minutes worth. You missed a lot, man. Just go back and catch up. But good luck with the baby skunk. Forgettable for 1 year. Yeah, but they were just trying to give us something to hang on to for the next year. You know, they'll savor the flavor for the actual full-fledged trailer later on. There's no need to put it out this early. Yeah, in another year, I know it sucks. Like, just think about this. Like, they more or less could have just put that movie out this year, but it wouldn't have hit theaters and they wouldn't have made the money they wanted to. But gosh, if that thing went to VOD, it would have been successful. It really would have. Oh, let me turn off this stupid thing. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Looks terrible. Looks pretty terrifying. It's Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Doyle. I think that's a good casting choice. Halloween 2 over Halloween 2018. Yeah, Halloween 2 I think is better than the 2018 Halloween movie. I will forget until next September. I probably will too. Like, it was nice to see, but like, I'll care more next fall when it's finally going to come out. Feels like autumn. Good night, John. I'm going to get reservations at Dorsia. Well, enjoy Dorsia. And listen to some Phil Collins on your way there. Where am I? I'm trying to... Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions, and I'm going to wrap up this live stream because I'm getting a little bit tired now. All right. Night King 01... John, his soul is still dancing. Absolutely. The best line from Bad Lieutenant. Claudio Rogajon. I almost passed out once from drinking a Rain energy drink from jittering so hard in my car. Have you ever had a bad experience from an energy drink? Energy drinks don't affect me at all anymore. I'm numb to them. I used to take pre-workout, especially Mr. Hyde pre-workout, which was like 500 milligrams per scoop, and I used to take like 4 scoops. And I used to get so jittery. Like at the gym, I'd have to work out fast or else my head would explode. And then when I was done working out, I would go home and I would feel like complete shit for like 5 hours. Like I just crash and feel like I was dying. So yeah, I've had many bad experiences, but like it was worth the sacrifice in the gym to have those bad experiences. All right, guys. So I just want to say big thanks to you guys for joining me for this special Halloween edition of the live stream. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for all the great questions. Just thanks for watching. And like I said earlier in the live stream, if you guys are a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member and you guys listen to the podcast that I exclusively do on both of those, which the podcast is really good. It's like I really enjoy making it. If you guys listen to it, I hope you enjoy listening to it. I do an audio and a video version of it. My co-host is Odin from Odin's Movie Blog. But yeah, if you listen to the podcast, I'm giving away these 2 movies, these 2 4K movies as like a gift to you guys just for being there and supporting me, and big thanks to you guys. So yeah, go listen to the podcast if you guys want a chance to enter in to win these. And I think on the next episode of Pick the Flick, I have a really good idea that you guys could win stuff. So I'll save that for the next live stream. So make sure you tune in. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me, guys, and stay safe. Happy Halloween. And if you go trick-or-treating, well, I don't know, wear some rubber gloves and carry some hand sanitizer, because the scariest thing this year, I can't say it on YouTube. You guys know what it is. One last question that just came in. Dan Peters, why is chili in spaghetti a thing in Ohio? Do you partake? No, I do not. That sounds awful. Chili is chili, spaghetti is spaghetti. You never intertwine the two. That's blasphemy. So no, I do not. I do not partake in such a thing. That's witchery. I don't do it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, stay safe. I will see you guys next time. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.